All right, chat. Welcome in. Welcome in. You think we get to July and we can just kick back, have a good time, watch some movies, hang out, just not have to worry about anything, chat. But I mean, the NBA just doesn't go away, and I mean, I don't think we wanted to, but it just keeps making news, chat. I mean, even the NFL tried to get into the mix a little bit with some of the news. There was, chat. It's not even on the list here. I was trying to see if we even had it on the headlines. It's not even on the headlines. I guess. Did it actually happen today, or did I just see it on Instagram today? But I think it actually happened today. The NFL had a Jalen Ramsey for Minkah Fitzpatrick trade that went down. I don't know if there's any other pieces involved, which is actually kind of a good trade. I guess if you just look at the name, the 2020, the fact that that trade takes place in 2025 is one thing, and maybe that's the problem with the trade. But at one point in their careers, that is a really good, really fun superstar high-level trade. I mean, hey, yo, chat, the NFL, I was just saying, the NFL tried to weasel its way in there, and what do you know? It just takes over right away. It is what it is. But the NFL will be, a little bit quicker sifting through that. That was just the one move there. And again, there really was not that much going on. Excuse me, chat. The problem with the NFL is, of course, Tua and Aaron Rodgers. Not the problem with the NFL. Hey, yo, hot start. We're saying, what are we looking at in terms of the moves that were made? The Jalen Ramsey, Minkah Fitzpatrick move. Well, it's like, the first things that we look at are, of course, the teams, the quarterbacks on the teams. Tua, Aaron Rodgers. Where do we rank them? We're both on first team at the same time, because they were both definitely all-pro guys through the course of their career. 17, 21, 20, and 21 for our guy Jalen Ramsey. Once in Jacksonville, twice in LA. So this team would have had defensive backfield guys. Harrison Smith and Kevin Byard were the safeties on this team. Earl Thomas, Adrian Amos, Eric Weddle hanging out there. And I think Minkah Fitzpatrick, okay, I was going to say 18. I say he might not even have been in the league at this point. But, either way. So setting the table for who is going to be in the league when Minkah Fitzpatrick, the Harrison Smith or Kevin Byard spot are up for debate. And 2017 is also, again, sort of the tail end of that, if even that Seahawks run at that point, where we still got Earl Thomas kind of hanging around in the mix. But the 2018 team, all-pro team, Derwin James, Eddie Jackson. That's the year Eddie Jackson made first team all-pro. 6 interceptions. I mean, he was really electric that year. Shout out. And I loved Eddie Jackson in pause. We were pro Eddie Jackson, the football game in college, as a safety. He was because again, some of the safety stuff in the draft doesn't always line up right, and you're like, you just get these safeties in the 4th round that are going to be good players. And I know that the dialogue for the guy's career goes up and down in terms of the value on the field, but at one point he was a first team all-pro. You get that. I guess at any point in the draft, it's going to be a win. But he was pretty electric that year. I mean, that's just a fun secondary in general between those two guys. I think I would rather build a second. I mean, again, which all-pro team would you rather have to build around? But and Harrison Smith, Kevin Byard, like there's a case that, again, like Harrison Smith's probably the most consistent of those 4 guys. But still, chat. Minkah Fitzpatrick on first team. No Ramsey, I guess, 19. So he would have been 20 and 21 the next 2 years. But Minkah Fitzpatrick makes it on 19. So I'm guessing he had maybe a couple of years where he was on first team all-pro. Ramsey again. Yeah, so there we go. If this trade went down in 2020, chat, it would have been an absolute blockbuster deal. But Tyrann Mathieu, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Budda Baker, Xavier Howard, and Jalen Ramsey both. And then, of course, teammates in Miami eventually, and then no longer, of course, anymore. And then the whole Minkah Fitzpatrick storyline of him being drafted in Miami, and now he's back. And, he's like, okay, we traded him for his best years. But, at least we get him now. So it is, it is what it is, chat. But, Tyrann Mathieu, the versatility. I mean, you think basically Tyrann Mathieu versus Derwin James, and then Minkah Fitzpatrick versus Eddie Jackson. Again, Fitzpatrick would have some of the consistency stuff, and I think probably just a little bit more. I mean, Eddie Jackson's probably a little bit more free safety-ish roaming stuff where I think Fitzpatrick get a little more physical. Also get Buda Baker in the mix here, first team. So yeah, either way, that trade went down in for the NBA chat. Hey yo, we gotta catch up with what's going on in the news here because I can't even keep track on Instagram of what's actually happening right now or what's happening, like what happened in 2021. There's a weird, I don't know if it's just, you know, I guess say, well, what's going on Instagram, but it's always, you know, your own algorithm. But there's apparently, I guess our own algorithm right now is just, there's a weird gearing toward old sort of, not old, but the Nets from a couple years ago when they got Durant and Harden and Kyrie, and then not even like highlights of that team or anything, just the course of that team being assembled. It's like, oh, remember when this lineup, we remember like this lineup was cool, and then when this trade went down, you know, all this different stuff. It's like, okay, that's what. Oh, chat, ESPN Plus, hey yo, brutal. What do they have to do it to us? Hey yo, it is what it is. But pause. But hey yo, so the price is going up for everybody. Chat, contracts are going up. ESPN Plus, it's crazy. Is our ESPN Plus going up? Is that why the salary cap is raising, chat? Who knows? They're gonna have to pay for that massive TV deal at some, you know, somehow. So this is great. We got like an actual running, you know, a journal, chat. Hey yo, we got like a log entry of every single free agency move that happened here, time stamped and everything. So apparently there's no overlapping moves. Every move just on every. Oh, here we go. A 6:32 right at a 6:33. PM Eastern time. So is this all today? June 30th. Okay, yesterday. And then some of the stuff in today. Oh, the most recent news, I guess about an hour ago, Trey Mann re-signing with Charlotte. I guess we did see a post that speaks Charlotte lineups are going to be crazy now that they have Colin Sexton. It's a good, you know, good move. We'll see if that team is going to be fun. Again, you know, the East chat this year is going to be, of course, crazy. I don't know, where's the beginning of the timeline? 29th, is it going to go like some of the random moves scattered in there as well too? Okay, all the way back to the 24th. Kyrie, the Porzingis deal, of course. Jordan Poole getting traded. The Spurs trading their 38th pick. Hey yo, chat. Hey yo. Lakers guard is turned down and would not have wanted to send the wrong signal by not offering it. Both sides, sources said, are motivated to find a deal next summer. And I mean, everybody knows, of course, that Reeves was, I guess everybody, but yeah, it was a good story when he got drafted, that when he started to emerge as well too as a player, that because again, I guess on the team and he started to emerge, that he kind of picked LA in a way. Again, you know, Austin Reeves had his choice of teams, but again, it's a little bit different where it's like, okay, now we're out of the draft, unrestricted free. It's not like, oh, you know, teams are like on their knees for Austin Reeves. Hey, yo. But it's like, okay, at least a couple of teams are like, yeah, you know, we'd bring you in as a undrafted free agent for sure. And he's like, well, if I'm going to go, if I have a couple of different options, like I'm definitely going to, and the Lakers are interested, like I'm definitely going to, or he said, you know, he's definitely going to take the Lakers. Or maybe there was even something about him with him earning some more security for some other teams, you know, even if it was a little on the lower end of some of the contract stuff versus, you know, just signing, because maybe he started on a two-way in LA as well too, maybe. But Devin Booker as well too. We did sign an extension. There's going to be big Phoenix Suns news in the next 10 days, Windhorse said. So yeah, that again, I guess this is all from the 26th here. So that actually happened today as well too. But the big news of the day, chat, of course, is Lillard getting waived. Do we have a timestamp on Lillard getting waived? Hey, yo, chat. I feel like that was actually kind of a, you know, exposed, chat. Were we on our phone at work? It is what it is. But that was like a good pull open the phone, and then right away it's like, oh, wait a second, this was like 20 minutes ago? What just happened? I feel like we did, of course, had a lot of the Wimbledon coverage on. In the Wimbledon coverage, you know, again, it's on during work and in some of the times where, I guess, well, they're not running reruns right now. Are they going to run reruns? But I got ESPN on the background right now. But, yeah, it seems like some of the matches, especially with some of the higher seeds early on, have gone into some of the later sets. So would be definitely fun to go back and rewatch some of those. But, yeah, it didn't seem like there was like a breakaway, like, oh, Dame Lillard is off the team in Milwaukee all of a sudden. And, of course, they eventually make the move to get Miles Turner as well, too. So I guess on one hand, it is kind of fun that there is at least still some ways for teams to do something. Because at least for Milwaukee, it was like, okay, this is one of the teams that, like, what do? There's nothing that they do. And the only thing that was benefiting Milwaukee at this point was, of course, they have Giannis, and he didn't just, like, fully outright request a trade at this point. But the other thing was just the East is just slowly just crumbling in front of them, and they're not even, they're just sitting around doing nothing. And then all these teams are losing their best players. Nobody's going to be in competition for their for them in that conference next year. It's just gonna be an easy walk to the finals for the Milwaukee Bucks. But again, it was like, what is the ability for them to just mix up the roster gonna look like in a major way? And again, the Turner stuff, but it's still a pretty good contract. They're bringing in 113 million. I get the stretching thing as well too. So like the Turner piece of it is. It's like what more cap flexibility do they have if this was like the one even little sort of like, what's the reserve valve? Is that even a thing, Chet? I don't know what the, sort of just a reserve thing, but just like the last sort of emergency fund option for him from the salary cap. But yeah, for Turner on one hand as well too. If you just go in big picture, like Turner may be a little bit more tradable than Dame at this point, just because of the injury as well too for Lillard, which is the big reason, of course, why he's going to wait. If Lillard's healthy. I mean, are they waiving Lillard? Probably not. But on the other hand, it's still kind of only a 2-year deal. So I get it. We can't go back to like 3 months and be like, oh, Lillard got hurt and we felt like, Giannis was going to leave the team. And, the Spurs were going to get Giannis there for a second. And it just felt like the Milwaukee franchise was going to be in a reset. But then, again, everybody in the East got hurt. So it's like, wait a second. This Bucks team with Giannis is by far the best player in the East now. It's like, what's going to happen? I guess, we don't want to discount some of the emerging talent as well too, but it's like, oh man, Giannis is by far the most established guy in the East at this point, and what's the competition again going to look like? So maybe the team is just as a byproduct of that a little bit better. And having Miles Turner does make you better as well too. Like, it's not like, again, all of a sudden they bring in Miles Turner, they're a worse team. But if you go, okay, Lillard is, again, he's out for next year, so from a contract standpoint and from a what are we able to do standpoint, that is kind of definitely not great. But there is also a slight chance that he's back for the playoffs as well. I don't know how realistic it is that he's like awesome in the playoffs. Again, it wasn't like he was gelling amazing this year as well too. But at least, okay, it's like at least he's not a zero asset potentially as well too going into next year if you're maybe thinking a good playoff run as well. So you also have Lillard the season after that, and then Lillard's an expiring contract. So that in itself can become a trade asset. And I think kind of like we're seeing, again, it's like what names are available and what trades are even going to be possible. But the having and again, Lillard's definitely a good salary, but having a bigger salary is not necessarily a bad thing on a trading aspect as well too. So Lillard on an expiring deal in 2 years is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. And again, the Giannis timeline of it all makes you feel like you got to speed up everything. And definitely, again, you have to have the best team as possible around him. I get that. And Turner is definitely a good player to have. And at the center spot as well, too, is Turner an upgrade over Brook Lopez? I mean, yeah, Turner, is ideally in that 28-game range and all that stuff. But again, Turner, it's not like he was awesome in the finals as well either. So, it's not like we can just write him in for, okay, he's going to be the sidekick guy for Giannis in a playoff run. So, he's like 113 million. You're paying him to be that's more, again, sort of the points per game sort of range than it is actually like the status and the confidence level range sort of, like, because like Jaren Jackson again is good, and there's all NBAs and a little bit of extra sort of status boost, but in some of the all defensive stuff, it's like he's his defense is probably more of elite skill than anything between him and Turner, but he's getting like that extra max contract as well too. Now obviously not quite Shea level. Shea's the MVP, but he's getting that contract where it's like, oh man, you need Jaren Jackson to now absolutely just be like a Jalen Williams in a playoff series potentially as well. So Turner doesn't have to necessarily be that, but again, his importance on the Bucks, he kind of needs to be that as well too. But again, like we were all kind of saying, and things change. I guess that's the lesson in the NBA is things change really quickly. And, and the Bucks, I guess, are, again, a perfect example of that. Because a couple of months ago, it's like this team is a disaster. And then a couple of weeks ago, It's you know, a couple of days ago. It's like this team a couple of hours ago. I don't even know, you know, how recently. A couple of hours ago, and then you know, a couple of minutes after that, it's like, okay, we're back even a little bit. You know, like the Turner move is at least something. And again, in terms of this free agency market as well too, outside of Siakam and some of the other stuff, like there wasn't really a ton of other options to go out there and hunt as well. And Turner been in a couple, like we can't discredit Turner. You know, we don't want to call a guy discount Towns, but is there a little bit of the multiple conference finals run, some of the offensive perimeter game from a center? And if you have Giannis as well too, like he's definitely going to take care of some of the, you know, I mean, is he a shot blocker the way Wembanyama is? But of course he's a defensive presence. I mean, Brook Lopez at the peak of his powers is a different kind of defensive presence and still good. But I mean, Turner is kind of, again, that as well too, where Lopez is kind of some of the help side, and maybe Turner is a little bit more help side. Like Lopez kind of stationary around the rim when he's his best version of it. It's like Brook Lopez, don't move and just stand there and block shots when you're on the Bucks, and then that's just the best version of him playing defense. But you know, Turner obviously is going to give you some mobility, some shot blocking as well too. So it's definitely not a bad spot for him. But the Dame thing is interesting, and you know, again, he's going to be hurt next year, so and I'm sure from a money standpoint, like he's still fine. It's not like he's going to have to go try to find himself. Like, okay, I'm hurt, but I still need to get signed because I need the contract or you know whatever. Well, you know, maybe, maybe you know, who knows what he's in need of, Chad, for the money. You know, now that he's in Milwaukee. Make no mistake, I don't think the Blazers were the only thing that he split from at that time. But you know, in terms of the future for him, I still think that is he going to be obviously, again, as impactful as Turner, but Turner has a 4-year deal as well too. So I guess the part of it that is the other thing is, again, it's not like you just waive Dame and you just have this massive sort of buyout situation that you pay for him this year. Again, maybe there is even that involved, but there's a stretch of it as well too. So I don't know how crippling that is, but you know, again, with how kind of tricky the second apron is, and you know how detrimental that can be for some of the long-term stuff with the effects that can have from being in the second apron from year to year, like, you know, you just don't know what kind of line you're walking. I guess I should say I don't know what kind of line they're walking with Stretch and Dame like that. We haven't gone through the Bobby Marks Twitter feed to see if he's broken that down at this point. But again, you know, having Turner versus not having, like, he's a better player as well. I don't. Do we need to pull those lineup posts back up about what the potential Bucks lineups would be? Because, you know, again, you were buying a lot of Kevin Porter Jr. stock anyways, but it's like, okay, Giannis in this sort of weakened / unproven East. You know, we got guys like Cade and Paolo with the chance to step up, and you know the Cavs are there as well too as a regular season team. Who knows if Trae Young is, you know, again, staged for like a crazy thing in the East if the Hawks are really good around him. But can we go look like a little positional grouping here? Hey yo, let's see what we got. Second apron space, chat. They're still got a little second apron space. Hey yo, what are we like? 8 million second apron space here? I don't know. Jericho Sims, he might have been on the team already. But, hey, you know, Jericho Sims and Miles Turner as your front court depth chat? I don't know if Knicks fans are like, you know, oh, man, the Bucks got Jericho Sims. But there's still definitely a section of, I think that, is there, we'll find it, chat. IT, dig up the section of the NBA internet that still likes Jericho Sims. Hey, yo, they got to be out there somewhere. Ask ChatGPT. Give us a link to a Jericho Sims fan page. There definitely is still one that exists somewhere. But the Milwaukee Bucks, Dame elated to be waived from the Bucks. Already receiving calls from contending teams. Dame says he's receiving calls. I mean, hey, if he's receiving calls, that's, I mean, best case situation. Because I guess for Dame as well too. It's like, oh man, Dame, he got waived. What does that look like? The perception of just a guy getting waived. But you know, Dame hated Milwaukee, chat. Let's just say it like it is. The man hated Milwaukee. I don't know if he said it that strongly, but he basically said that. It was sort of, he was a little bit more, you know, J. Cole with his diss tracks, but maybe now that he's away from Milwaukee, maybe it'll just be like a full Kendrick diss, just like, you know, Milwaukee, you know, meet the Bucks, chat. I don't know if we'll get a meet the Bucks, just meet the city Meet the City. There's no diss track because there's nothing to do. Like, I don't know what the, Dave. And I guess Dave is the rapper as well, too. So he would be the one to drop a diss track. But, would San Antonio take Dame Lillard, Chad? Would we want, like, I guess, again, it always depends on what the contract is as well, too. Are we going to sign him to, Dame could sign, oh, yeah, obviously he could sign a minimum salary. Ayo. Receive calls from contenders. And that's got to be what it is, right? If he was receiving calls, I guess, obviously, well, we should have thought about that earlier as well, too. Like, obviously, if Dame's on the market, you got to at least see if he'll take the minimum deal, right? Like, there's no way that you're not going to pass it up. Because as much as there is some of the stuff that is like, oh, what was the impact? Like, like the offensive highs are still definitely there. And, again, if he's on a minimum contract or even just a more reduced salary, a more reasonable sort of role on the team, just all that kind of lines up in a different way, then his the burst that he can give you offensively could definitely be way more valuable. And if, again, at this point as well, too, going to a contending team, going to a more formed out roster, not to say that he's going to go to any, I guess if he goes to the Nuggets, obviously, then, he could go play with Jokic, or if he plays with Wemby on the Spurs again, but, he's not going to go play with a better player than Giannis, but he can definitely go play with a team where he's, instead of the second guy, oh, Giannis is off the court, now I have to lead the offense. He can be, the third, fourth guy. And, and again, it's like, he says he's getting calls from contending teams, and then all of a sudden, now he's in Miami, and it's like, oh, well, I get, Miami, Pat Riley, Spoelstra, a contending team, but right now, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. But, and that's going to be the thing as well, too, is where does Dame want to live, Chad? Because, again, contending teams, if we're talking the Eastern Conference, like, is Dame going from Milwaukee to Detroit? Is that the move? Maybe it is, Chad. I don't know, Milwaukee to Chicago? Like, Chicago would be a pretty good city upgrade, I think, for Dame. And, I mean, Milwaukee's not so far away from Chicago that, as an NBA player, Dame can't, I think, benefit from being close to Chicago. Like, and again, there's some travel, I think, efficiencies that can be managed with being an NBA player. I mean, you're going to be playing in Chicago a couple times. I mean, maybe even play Chicago in a playoff series at some point. But, again, just the idea of being able to commute. It's like, oh, a couple of days off. Dame's like recovering from the Achilles. Let me just head over to Chicago. I don't know. Does he have to stay in the Milwaukee, hotel room where he's at? And maybe that's his problem as well, too. I felt like, again, I have to go back and, like, see what that article was, where it's, like, the Dame rips Milwaukee article. But I felt like there was, like, a segment in there where it's, like, he's just in his hotel room every day, just, like, trying to figure out what to do because Milwaukee's so boring. And it's like, bro, why are you in a hotel room? You're not even, you can just, like, get a condo or a timeshare or something. They get a 6-month lease on something. There's no, like, I mean, again, you're literally Dame on a 50+ There's no, like, you can't even splurge on an Airbnb for a couple months until you figure it out. Like, I feel like there's ways to manage it outside. And even the hotel room, like, even if it's Milwaukee, like, I just pay respects to Milwaukee or tell, like, make no mistake, take it from us. I mean, take it from Sam. Take it from guys that have grown up in other Midwestern states. There's other Midwestern cities where there's even less to do than Milwaukee. Like, if we were Dame, like, we would be one of the rare places where we, like, get traded to Milwaukee. We're like, oh, this is an upgrade, chat. There's more to do here. This is, my weekend's full. I'm booked up. But, I feel like even for Milwaukee, there's still, again, a corporate situation, a downtown. There's going to be some sort of nice hotel with a penthouse situation or, presidential executive suites and things like that. I feel like he can do okay in a hotel room. Hey, yo, chat. Whoa. Hey, I feel like a couple of people have done okay in a hotel room in Milwaukee. Hey, yo, chat. Hey, yo. We might have to, that might be the next Tubi original that we cook up, chat. A hotel room in Milwaukee? Hey, yo. Maybe Dame does, like, some soundtrack work for a couple of original songs for a hotel room in Milwaukee, chat. Hey, yo. Bring back Scoot Henderson and Rosario. Oh, for that one, that would be crazy. But what are we even talking about, chat? Lillard, Achilles, I don't even know. Yeah, contending teams. Not necessarily saying what contending teams, not flaunting that. But, maybe the Lakers, chat. You got to imagine the Lakers are calling Dave Lillard, be like, hey, you want to play for $3 million, 4 or 5, whatever the minimum is for Dave Lillard? You want to play for the minimum contract in LA? I mean, there's a lot to do in LA. And I feel like if you budget, again, he was in the hotel, the Motel 6 in Milwaukee. So he's got a little extra spending money saved up from last year. I think he'll be okay, Chat. Or even the Clippers. The Clippers, Ballmer, if Ballmer's not calling Lillard, I mean, Ballmer might think that he can get Lillard to play this year, honestly. Like a couple of motivational speeches and whatever their health team is, just, I mean, the load management that the Clippers have anyways, Lillard's just, the timeline, it might fit perfectly. It's like, yeah, we don't even need Lillard to play till game 76. That's the plan anyways. We don't play our stars until March. But Dame, Kawhi, and James Harden and Norm Powell and Zubats? I mean, that could be kind of fun, Chet. That would actually be the perfect team because, not even just the expectations. Like, oh, there's a situation there where he's actually the fifth best player in the lineup. If Norm Powell's really cooking and Zubats is, his full two-way impact is definitely there as well. But that's a fun one just because of the veteran. So I guess the Mavs are kind of another team sort of like this, but of course the Mavs have Cooper Flag now. Like the Clippers don't have the number one, the lottery projected, the lottery pick that's the next projected guy that they can build around as well too. Like it's just sort of all the end of the road-ish veterans. We're like, oh, how many runs do we get out of this team? Like, Dame Lillard on that roster, hey yo, I don't know what we're saying about Dame Lillard. I just we don't want to put the expectations of that team. I think would maybe fit Dame Lillard a little bit more at this point. I mean, Miami would be fun, but like he might think he's like the best player in Miami, and he might be the best player in Miami on certain nights. I mean, he might be the best player, wherever he goes certain nights. He's obviously that great, but again, just I guess on more nights he'll be relied on in Miami. I mean, just him and Hero, Bam as well too as a shot maker, game to game. I mean, he might take a leap this upcoming season. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. But he's also been in the league for a while. He also just kind of could be that 20, 21 point a game scorer as well too. So he might be a little too relied on in Miami. But Philly, Chat, Dame goes to Philly on the minimum contract. You got a beat on the screen there. I don't even know. The Knicks as well too. Knicks, Cavs, Thunder. I mean, you don't want to just start saying the Thunder. I mean, how desperate, how obviously do you want to get for your ring chasing? But yeah, I mean, Dame, the biggest winner of this is Dame. Obviously, Giannis is a little like, hey, what just happened to my other all-star guy? But again, it's, like we were saying, it was more sort of the contract logistics of, is this the best way to go about the long-term building of it? Because again, Giannis is like, you still want to go and try to put the best team around Giannis as possible, but he is starting to enter that phase that LeBron was at there. As we started off talking about Colin Sexton getting traded to the Hornets, but that Colin Sexton draft was a big one where it was like, no, we're not trading this pick because we need a rookie and we just need like a young guy on a decent contract and a star player that we could just have to be like, hey, this is something to have as a piece going forward in the post-LeBron years because we know that you're not going to be here going forward. And, again, Giannis may retire a buck. Like if somebody had a crystal ball right now and was like, no, Giannis actually goes on to play 20 seasons in Milwaukee, like I would not be surprised if Giannis requests a trade in 6 hours or 6 months. I wouldn't be surprised. All possibilities are literally on the table with Giannis at this point. But again, that's sort of the thing where it's like we don't really. I'm not calling him a volatile, whatever. I'm just saying that the Milwaukee situation to align with the timing of where he's at in his career, being about a decade-ish in, and him being, a little bit more of a physical player as well, too, a 7-footer. Like, maybe his timeline is a little bit different than a guard like Chris Paul. Could he have the sort of hang-around years the way that those guys sort of can? Maybe as sort of a veteran, like the Nick Collison, Udonis Haslem role, but like as an actual guy in the league. Like, you just never know what his timeline is. So it makes sense. I mean, for anybody to obviously start thinking about how are you going to maximize the winning potential that you have. But if you're Milwaukee, you also go, okay, what is the health of the team going forward? So, I mean, clearly, again, with the Turner move and with Stretch and Dame, like it's very much like, yeah, right now we need to build the best team around Giannis. We need to keep Giannis as happy as possible. And they don't really like have, the picks as well too. Again, like Cleveland in that draft, they had the 8th overall pick in the draft. It's not like or the 6th or whatever Colin Sexton was in that draft, but it's not like Milwaukee had that top 10 pick as well too. I mean, again, because of Giannis, they're way up there in the draft order because of the regular season totals, and they haven't had their picks anyways because they traded them, and I think Dame was part of what trades were they all involved in, but I think the Dame trade was definitely a major one. So again, there is definitely an instant sort of motivation to get the team good right now. But with the way that the Eastern Conference looked, it would have just been interesting to see. And, again, a Turner, Turner's a free agency move. Turner's not just we're making a trade right now. And, is this move sort of available later on? Because we'd have to look. I wasn't seeing any sign and trade details as well, too. Maybe that's involved. Wouldn't be surprised. It honestly would be a little more surprised if it's wait a second. They were just able to, kind of outright sign him as well too, but it just looks like Woj would make sure to clear this up at this point as well too. But it doesn't look like there is any sign and trade pieces going back where it's okay, if he's if he's on Indiana in a couple of months and all of a sudden it's this team is not winning this year. Obviously they don't have the star. It's not like we're Nemhard's quite taken the 23 a game score leap and now we're just are we going to be the 5th seed again and maybe a feisty playoff team? Maybe then you look to move Turner and that type of situation. This is kind of a move that is a summer move to be made, but again it's an interesting one because of again the Eastern Conference that they have, because I guess Turner, the table is set for him to be impactful as well too, and he gets to be again in a way playing next to Giannis, that type of guy. A little redemption because he wasn't, again, as great in the finals. And Siakam, was their second man. You have him and Halliburton and Nemhard, and it's okay, what hierarchy in the team is he? But he is still a guy that, he could be the second best player on the team. He could be the 4th best player on the team, but he has that kind of, 20-ish a game scoring potential with the pretty good defensive upside as well, too. He's a good player. He's a good player. I like the Turner move. I just maybe I'm definitely overthinking the Dame contract element of it, but I was just okay, I did like the team, and it's okay, that Dame thing is not looking crazy if that move is it gets to be less disastrous because the Eastern Conference is weaker, and now you have Dame in Milwaukee the season after that on an expiring deal. It's kind of interesting, but also he didn't like Milwaukee as well too, so that they probably just doing him a favor as well. Hey, we get it. You can just go to a different team. You're not even going to be playing for us next year anyways. But, again, Milwaukee at least able to make a roster upgrade for this season when they have a chance in the Eastern Conference to make an extra run because of the weaker potential competition is a good thing as well, too. And what else did they do here, Chad? Traded Pat Connaughton in 2 of their seconds for Micic. Well, they just undid everything great. Hey, what are we doing here? I mean, Micic, I guess, definitely running offense a little bit more. So I guess are they thinking Connaughton, Gary Trent? Gary Trent, did he go back to Milwaukee? I feel like that deal will be listed. Yeah, he did agree to return to Milwaukee, chat. Hey, can we get the Milwaukee roster actually pulled up here and take a look at it real quick? See what we got going on. Is AJ Green still a starter, chat? How much are they going to rely on our guy? Depth charts. Let's see what we got here for Milwaukee. Oh, Dame is still on the team. Hey, chat. Get this sucker updated. What are we doing? Depth chart, it's updated daily throughout the season. What about right now? Connaughton slacking, chat. Hey, But Turner, I guess, Turner right into the starting lineup, chat. Tyler Smith. Will he win the starting job over Turner? Pete Nance. Hey, shout out to Pete Nance. Chris Livingston. Jamari Bouye, chat. The Houston, from Houston. Kind of just was somebody in that Houston team I feel like is going to have a moment in the NBA. So, why not take a shot at him as well, too. And Jackson is a good defensive option as well. So I think Kevin Porter was making a move. Yeah, I guess he did re-sign as well too. And I guess they got Gary Harris. Hey, Chad. So Gary Harris, another team where he's not gonna play. Hey, Chad. Hey, they signed a bunch of guards. I don't know if he's gonna credit. And you get Micic as well too. Gary Harris because of him and Trent and Porter are a little more of the score first. Micic is definitely passing it around and not hogging up shots. Torium Prince as well too, and then like we were saying, yes, Sims, and then to go with Giannis, Kuzma. So you still retain Kuzma on a $20 million a year deal. I mean, what was Kuzma's numbers when he went to Milwaukee? Because that was another one where it was like, oh man, Washington actually moved him. Like we didn't even know what kind of move Kuzma was going to be dealt for at that point. Let us see here. In Milwaukee, 45% for the field, 33% from three. So he was at 28% in Washington the first 32 games last year. So yeah, again, it was like kind of pretty rough for him there for a second. But at least got back on track a little bit. So to be honest, like Kuzma's an interesting guy where if Kuzma's 48, 35 next year, you know, maybe more like 47, 35. I guess his career high is 45, 34. 44, 36? There's a 44, 36 in here. There's a 45, 30. Oh, his rookie season. Hey, yo, 45, 36. Okay, that might be the one, chat. It all started at the beginning, the best one. His rookie season. Kuzma, he's like an 70s player. Is Kuzma on cocaine? Chat, what's going on here? It doesn't look like it's not a cocaine reference page. But definitely the rookie high point of it is interesting. But 45, 36. So I guess if his 3-point percentage goes up a little bit, then he's kind of back on track to where he was back then. But if next to Turner and Giannis, he's able to take a step up, because I guess Turner and Giannis, well, as I say, are they the best teammates he played with? But he played with Anthony Davis and LeBron, so it's not like that's the case. But maybe he was better, younger, so it's not like even peak version of Kuzma as well too. So it is what it is, Chad. It is. But if he can get back to that, if he can improve on that day, on the days of LeBron and Davis, and Turner and Giannis can somehow channel that out of him. But, and again, you know, nobody's like, as much as Giannis is great, you know, he's not necessarily the playmaker that LeBron is. I mean, LeBron can be a little bit like Brady-esque in a way where it's like, you know, he'll either really set you up or like kind of, you know, freeze you out. He'll just trade you at that point. But Kuzma might be tradable in season. And if Kuzma's tradable, maybe you just go, hey, screw it. We'll just keep Kuzma. He's $20 million. And again, $20 million is expiring. We'd rather just trade him as an expiring and just keep the team together. Because you start going through a chemistry aspect of it as well, too. So I guess from the Turner standpoint, that's good, where, you know, you trade for him early in the offseason, so at least you have some of the summer stuff to, or at least you sign him early in the offseason. Have some of the summer stuff to go through. You know, he's not going to necessarily be there halfway through the season and try to learn on the fly what's going on with the team. And, you know, I guess I was saying that did they trade for, you know, I said they traded for Turner, but they didn't trade for him. They signed him, so at least from a motivational standpoint, like, that's always something as well, too, where, and, you know, like, when Bane got traded to Orlando, like, I don't know if, you know, the Memphis thing was really, like, that bad, but, you know, it was, the Orlando thing's just a really great situation. He's definitely very aware of that and definitely been very, like, yeah, this is awesome. I really love being here. Like, I can't, you know, if I'm going to get traded, like, this is absolutely a great place for me to end up. But, you know, it's sometimes, and maybe Durant as well, too. It's like Durant just getting traded and moved around can kind of mess up your mind. But it's like, what is the motivation of a guy being traded? I guess, you know, Dame as well, too. It's like Dame just ends up in Milwaukee. Is he going to be just like, oh, wow, that's amazing? Is he just like Turner? Is he in Milwaukee? Maybe it's not even the trade piece. Maybe it's the Milwaukee piece, Jet. It's like, you know, okay, if they traded for Turner and Turner's going to Milwaukee, is he going to be like, oh, I'm locked in. Let's go try to win a title. But Turner's like, no, I'm going to play with Giannis. Like, let's try to get this done in the Eastern Conference. And wants to, again, be competitive in the East. I think, you know, it's interesting the long term. Like, okay, he played with Halliburton. If he could re-sign with the Pacers, maybe the Pacers as well, too. We're like, you know, if we're going to not necessarily be the most competitive this year, can we get that flexibility on the books and then see if we can set ourselves up in the future for a different sort of version of the team when Halliburton gets back that's a little bit more competitive as well, too. But, yeah, you know, fun move. The Halliburton or the Giannis Turner combination is fun. And I guess, you know, the last piece on it would be the front court pairing is fun as well, too, because again, Dame, Giannis, Drew, and Giannis, even Middleton and Giannis, like, it was always sort of the wing, backcourt, sidekick scorer guy that you need, which makes sense. I mean, you want a guy that is going to be able to, and again, Giannis, like the Jokic factor, you know, compared to Giannis is you need a perimeter guy next to anybody, but Jokic can step out and hit a three if you want him to, if you need him to, And if he wants to, like, Giannis is not necessarily doing that. You kind of need some 3-point element on the team next to Giannis, also having the passing, the playmaking, the creating as well too in a extra capacity is good to have out there. And a lot of times you're thinking, oh, what kind of guard and wing can we throw out there next to him? But to pair him with another center, another kind of center forward type guy is kind of a fun thought experiment as well too. Not necessarily something I would have just like immediately have cooked up if I was thinking what are his ideal teammates. But again, I think Giannis can play with anybody. So, and Turner is a versatile guy as well too. Like, again, he's not a defensive player of the year, I think, last year. But you know, the Pacers team was a good defensive team. I think he can be a part of a good defensive unit, absolutely. And again, there's 20-point a game scoring potential with him. There's that 3-point perimeter element that he can provide as well too, which is good. You know, that's that floor spacing around Giannis is going to be valuable as well. So that's a fun pairing. That's a fun pairing. And again, you know, him as the second guy where in Indiana, there's moments where because of Nembhard and some big guys, like, oh, even McConnell out there cooking, you know, Turner, it's like, we don't even need him. We'll play Toppin. But, and maybe that's part of him moving on as well, too. And, well, you know, I don't even know what the Bucks have left as well, but I guess we shall see. But speaking of Jokic, Chad, speaking of Giannis and Jokic, always the top two guys, the Nuggets have been making some crazy moves as well, too. Let's see if we can go to their page. And this might be, well, actually, wait a second, chat. Wait a second. Skrrr, quick halt. We may have to queue up this movie real quick because we just got right into the trade. Of course, 40th anniversary. Of course, Jeff, you guys all know it's the 40th anniversary of Back to the Future this week. So we're queuing that up in the background to watch along as we, you know, sift through some of this free agency stuff. But yeah, we may have to, we may as well just throw that on right now, chat. Yeah, Milwaukee, Turner. Whew, hey-o. Pause. Got that out of our system. But yeah, we'll take a quick break, chat. Hey-o. We will take a test it. Take two. We will take a quick break, and then we will be back. We'll queue up this movie, Back to the Future, chat. 40 years later, Doc Brown, Marty McFly. Let's get it, chat. On the other side. Hey-o. Okay, chat. Back to the Future, streaming on Hulu right now. We got 5 seconds left in this ad break, so cue it up and get it going if you want to follow along. And make no mistake, you will have time to catch up because we are having, I should say, a little PSA, some connectivity issues, chat. So there may be some buffering. If you're wondering why our version of Back to the Future is not the normal runtime, you're like, wait, what kind of special director's cut of Back to the Future has he watched? It's like an extra, however. It's like, no, actually, it's just there's going to be some extra buffering in here that may, it'll give you a chance to get it queued up again on Hulu and lock in, chat. 40 years later, Back to the Future still holding up. A real absolute classic movie. If you go to Hulu on the movies, of course, section, there's a tab called Classics. And again, I don't know if it was the buffering issues or if this is actually how it is. But in that Classics section, the only 2 movies are actually the only 4 movies there were Wall Street featuring Michael Douglas, and then the 3 Back to the Future movies. So it really, I don't know what defines really a classic. We might have to go to the Chat GPT and see what the similarities are between Wall Street and Back to the Future, because Michael Douglas isn't in either of these movies, or isn't in Back to the Future. So it's not like Michael Douglas is the through line for. I mean, Michael Douglas is of course, through line for a classic movie, but it's not like he is the one that we're of course, referencing for why these would be grouped together on Hulu. But regardless, I mean, again, it's not wrong. They're both classics. I mean, the Back to the Future 1 is, of course, the most classic of the Back to the Futures. I mean, it starts off, of course, kicks off the franchise, kicks off everything as well, too. But 40 years, chat, it is, of course, timeless. And, as just you watch more old movies, but as time goes on as well too, as the new graphics and all that stuff gets implemented in movies, I mean, there is obviously some stuff that, the quote unquote ages poorly. We get it, but even now, I mean, you'll see CGI and stuff that's gonna be bad. Like, shout out to the Marvel. We'll pick on the Marvel Universe lately because obviously they have a deep bag of great movies. But there's gonna be some of these recent movies where like, wait a second. The CGI, like, people are going to be watching, like, the CGI in 2023 was obviously not great. What year did Ant-Man drop, Chaz? Like, the CGI in 2022 was not great. It was so primitive back then because look at this movie. It's not great. It's like, well, obviously there's not necessarily everything's going to be the finest work. Hey, shout out to the graphic designers of that movie, Chad. They obviously did a great job. I think the theater that we were in was a little bit... No, they do a great job lighting it as well. I think our eyes were messed up. Something was going on. I'm not sure. But yeah, for older movies anyways, for the ones obviously that are classic and hold up in age well, I mean, timeless is, of course, can be applied, but just for the eras themselves, it does feel like, I mean, in hot take, but the 80s and the 90s, like they just get kind of set aside as their own thing. And even the 2000s as well too. Like, I kind of find myself thinking about that with action movies as of late. And are we as locked into new movies as we are right now as we were, in the 2010s? I said 2000s, I was thinking more 2010s. But the action movies in like the mid 2010s, again, if we want to reference Marvel, of course, Winter Soldier, and Dark Knight as well too is like 2008. But you've got Dark Knight Rises is like 2010, maybe, but that might be like 2012. As well too, but then between like Sicario and Edge of Tomorrow and I think Skyfall is 2012 as well too. But all of those and Mission, I think Fallout's like 2018. So that's more the second half of the decade, of course. But just the style and the pacing and the energy and the look of 2010's action movies, like. Even a couple of years removed from, we're not even a couple of years removed from that decade. And it's like, that was still kind of a unique thing. Like, is that my favorite style, favorite type, favorite kind of action movie? And it's like 80s movies, of course, I think they just kind of get set up, the graphics and the hold up nature of the look of some of the stuff. And even with the 90s and of course all the different stuff, they just kind of get set aside in their own thing. And just kind of become unique in our way. And again, are we able to pull off special effects? And are we doing certain things to a better level if we were remaking Back to the Future now? Or, whatever. How dare we even mention it? But, what really are you pulling off better? I guess we'll figure it out, Chad. Well, if we find some scenes where, like, yeah, that's the one, Chad. Can we AI just get ChatGPT to go back in and redo the scenes. But again, it's more just redo the scenes of the movie as well too. It's not like we need to redo the movie. Let me see the 2025 version of Back to the Future. I mean, this is one of the few as well too that I think, well, not one of the few. I mean, there's definitely there's multiple styles of movies, of course, that we're gonna watch that could be defined as classics. There's the movies that are unique and special and stand out as like a more one of one type thing, like a Back to the Future. And there is, of course, speaking of the action movies or the rom-coms or whatever, the more formulaic, we get them every couple of years type movies as well too. But it's like new cast, new tweaks on the story, new times, new things, issues being maybe bred, a couple of different things being addressed. It's like, oh, now all of a sudden it becomes a new story. Those are the type of things that you're like, yeah, let's recast that. Let's make this, let's spin it off in this way. Let's do it in this version. This sort of sports drama, this sort of coming of age story, this sort of buddy cop thing. These sort of things are going to be timeless. And obviously, I guess, what are we getting? I guess if we broke it down in that type of way with like a, coming of age story or something, I'm sure Back to the Future sort of works into some of those just timeless categories as well too. But there's nothing to improve on it, and there's difficult to see how you could even. It is back. I don't. I was gonna say, do we need to start talking about movies as like pyramid movies? And I'm thinking pyramid, like of course. Wait, Chad, do we have Back to the Future 2 on? Okay, no, we do. Okay, I gotta be honest. I don't think have I seen this movie in. Probably last summer was the last time we watched it, so it's about perfect time, Chad. It's about time. I was gonna say, what is we'll just have to remember the plutonium, as well too. Do we remember every beat of the story? It is what it is, but for the Marty McFly character, for the individual characters in the movie, for the vibe of course the beats of the story. If there's some like, oh, are we improving on this stuff? But for the most part, I think we're chilling. And again, all those other things there's really nothing to do better in 2025. And this one, I feel like hasn't even been spun off in like the franchise, not even the franchise, but like the TV show, the backstory. If it has, I've just, it's just been totally missed, and I feel like I haven't seen anything about it. But there hasn't been really the offshoot stuff of Back to the... And I mean, they obviously had their multiple movies as well too. And I think there may be a musical even as well. So I guess if we're just talking about them expanding on the IP, that's one way to do it. But yeah, it's a little like James Bond in that way, where it's just kind of the movies, and they're kind of, well, it's not even James Bond in that James Bond is a recurring character, but it sort of feels like a thing that should be IP and expanded in the TV shows and all of this streaming network type stuff, but just really hasn't been. And we're glad it hasn't. It keeps the movie special as well too. It keeps the stories, in some ways it's good to flush them out, and it's like, oh, here's the characters, here's the backstories, here all the stuff is connected, I want to know all these other things. But sometimes it's good to be like, yeah, this is, if I want to see Marty McFly and I want to get the Marty McFly stories and him and Doc Brown and all the different stuff, like, you've got to actually go to the Back to the Future movies and watch those stuff. Oh, Chad, he's got the guitar out early, so I'm, if you think, okay, if we're remaking this in 2025, we're editing it with the AI, the Chat GPT, maybe we're reworking some of the music storylines a little bit later. But again, I feel like we can just we can just rework that with the AI. I don't know what the right line is there, but there's definitely obviously a different way, a different version. I think he can just go out and just crush a song, and I think it can still just work in the course of the story. But that is, of course, for later, chat. But yeah, again, I was gonna say Marty McFly. What's his name, chat? Ayo, Fox. Ayo, Michael J. Fox. Of course, shout out Jamie Foxx, one of our favorites. So anytime I just think Fox, it's just, ayo, hey, whoa, Jamie Foxx is the first thing we think of. Hey, yo, chat. But shout out, of course, Michael J. as well too. And if we're just talking about the timeless factor of it, the one-of-one nature of the movie, of the story as well too. I mean, it all goes to the one-of-one nature of Michael J. Fox as an actor as well too. And I know you know, if you were asking a guy like me who's like, well, we weren't around for the major part of the Michael J. Fox career, like, what happened for the Michael J. Fox career? It's like, well, I mean, you just know Michael J. Fox, Back to the Future, and then unfortunately, you know, the man's got Parkinson's, or if that's not the exact actual term, but you know, he's got, of course, some unfortunate disease, if that's the right term for it. You know, again, trying to be respectful of the man's condition, Chad. You know, but you know, again, those are some of the first things I mentioned. But this is one of those movies where he is obviously an iconic actor. I mean, because of this and because of multiple roles as well too. Had the TV crossover with Alex P. Keaton, chat. Family Ties. Ayo. Family Ties was a big show in rotation for us growing up, chat. Ayo, we were kind of locked in on some of the older sitcoms, and Family Ties was one that was definitely on the TVs kind of a lot. But a lead role in Stuart Little in the animated films Atlantis, The Lost Empire, as well. And as I say, yeah, he has Teen Wolf in '85 is, you know, peak Michael J. Fox. For the Love of Money in 1993, but the discography, I mean, you know, not a lot of Michael J. Fox movies even being recommended in the Tubi, chat. I'm not gonna lie. Not a lot of them even being recommended in the Tubi. And again, some of the later years as well, too. I don't know the timeline for when all the stuff and the diagnoses and things. But, you know, obviously there was a run into the 80s and the 90s as well, too. But doesn't really have the stack of, you know, again, maybe for us as well, too, we should say. For sort of the movies that we were, just doesn't have the same sort of stack of rewatchable movies as other iconic actors, so kind of lives in a good way as Marty McFly. But again, because Teen Wolf is cult classic level, and then Alex P. Keaton as well was a established character, and that was 80, I guess 70s, but 80s as well mostly. But wait, I guess television discography, Family Ties, Family 1980, 82. So yeah, of course, again, you know, multiple years into Family Ties at that point. So, you know, imagine the star power of that in some way is probably influential to this, or maybe even, I guess, you know, how much money did this movie make in its time, Charge? Yeah, in its time, but when it was released, yeah, massive success. I was gonna say, obviously, it was a classic, instant classic, but it with just the inflation stuff is like, okay, does it make a lot of money for back in the day, or does it just make a lot of money? It kind of just made a lot of money. Like if you're making, and you know, a $19 million budget, this math is good at any point in history. But you know, just the box office number as well too is pretty good. I mean, you'd basically only have to be a Marvel movie to pull it off. So I guess, is 19 million a crazy box office for that year as well too? Do we just go 1985 in film? Because the last, I guess we're sticking in 1985 for our movies as well too, Chad. Ayo, because the last movie we watched, St. Elmo's Fire, also 1985. So I don't know if the budget for St. Elmo's Fire was as close to Back to the Future, but the box office was definitely not. I mean, oh, chat, yeah. Rambo First Blood Part 2 at 150 box office gross was number 2. Back to the Future at 210 was number 1. Hey, yo. So it's a little MJ-y, chat, in the 80s. A little, you know, I was going to say Jokic with the stats, but that, again, that's just with the stats. I think with the impact, Giannis is definitely right there. It's close. But, you know, with the stats, obviously you look at him and you're like, oh, a little Chamberlain-y? There we go, chat. With what kind of stats are we talking about with Chamberlain? But with the basketball stats for Chamberlain, like way above everybody else. And Rocky, I mean, 2 and 3, you're looking at, you know, and that's a pretty good jump. I mean, Stallone, chat. Hey, yo. I mean, 85, that's a great movie star battling year, chat. Who would have thought Michael J. Fox and Sylvester Stallone would have been battling it out for the biggest movie stars in the box office in 1985? But that's just what it was. I mean, you got Back to the Future at 210, and then a Stallone at 2 and 3. So wait, hey yo, we got so Rocky 4. Am I looking at the Roman numerals correctly? 1985. I mean, it's gotta be. The first one was like late-ish 70s, so yeah, it's gotta be the fourth one at this point, chat. Rocky. Okay, so I don't know Roman numerals, but I do know the third one there. So the sequel of Rocky 3, I can figure that. Oh, there we go. Just keep reading their chat. The fourth installment. But those together, we're looking at 277, and then Back to the Future's at 210. So what did Teen Wolf gross, chat? What did Teen Wolf gross in 85? Teen Wolf needs to gross 60-ish million to get to match Stallone at the box office. So we have to go back and look at Stallone's career versus Fox's career up to this point, and who was starting with the pole position as well too. Hey, whoa, pause. Who was sort of starting in first place in the race. But that's a fun movie star, different dynamic. 80 million, chat. So Michael J. Fox would have been, if we're just doing some, did Stallone have a fourth or a third movie? That's going to be the thing. And, you work TV, and I don't know, Stallone has a couple of cameos or something that are not going to get listed. Maybe he finds a way to rig the number to get, a better number than Michael J. Fox. But 300 million AO, chat, box office. So I guess as well, too, it's whatever number that they're giving us on that page compared to the number that they're giving us on this page as well. So if they was on that page, it would probably even be a little bit lower for Teen Wolf. We got to recalculate the numbers, but I guess it doesn't really matter. The point is that Stallone and Michael J. Fox were going toe to toe at the box office in 1985, and a lot of it, of course, was based on Back to the Future. In the Goonies, chat, top 10 as well. But mostly, 90 to 60 to 90 million dollars in the 4 through 10 movies. I guess 10 through 4 movies. But then 3 movies over 100 million. And the ones over 100 million, again, there's like smash successes. So if you're getting 100 million in the 80s, you're really killing it. Let's go. You're really crushing it. The next year, box office comparatively, I don't know. Predator was 87. Oh, Top Gun, chat. Hey, Top Gun at 176? I mean, that just shows you that Back to the Future might be the movie of the 80s. I mean, that wouldn't have necessarily been a long conversation for us to be like, okay, what's the movie of the 80s? Back to the Future. But it's just, I guess, not necessarily something directly I was thinking about as well, too, walking around the restaurant today. But I guess I was thinking more about Lillard. I was like, oh, you're thinking more about Miles Turner. I was like, Miles Turner and Giannis. Hey, yo. But Top Gun as well, too. That would definitely be, I mean, again, right up there in the arguments. You've got the legacy of Cruise just as an actor through the 80s. And then, of course, not even just through the 80s, but even, this is 86, so more into the 90s and, of course, even beyond. But his legacy as an actor in American film history and what he means and how giving him sort of a film of a day, it would make sense for Top Gun to definitely mean a lot in that type of way if we had to nominate one. But the absolute powerhouse ability of Back to the Future, chat, is, undeniable if we're just looking at these numbers here. Just the basic stats. 3 Men and a Baby. Buena Vista. What is this? This is American comedy. Tom Selleck. Hey, yo, chat. Do we need to go through the Tom Selleck filmography? Tom Selleck and Ted Danson? Oh, okay. Interesting. I don't know. We have to get into the plot if this is like a interesting movie. But is this on Tubi, chat? Is 3 Men and a Baby on Tubi? And then Fatal Attraction, number 2. Beverly Hills Cop 2, number 3. Good Morning Vietnam, number 4. Moonstruck, number 5. Hey, yo, chat. That's like a sleeper year. Again, we'd have to really go see what's going on with 3 Men and a Baby here as the number 1 movie. I guess, you get Ted Danson and Tom Selleck in a movie in the 80s. And Steve Guttenberg. That's going to be a powerhouse movie for sure. And then, Michael Douglas and Glenn Close. Just LeBron and Davis. Just like, okay, we'll take this movie to the finals. That's for sure. But that's a fun top 5, chat. I mean, even the next couple of movies as well, too. The Untouchables, The Secret of My Success, Stakeout, Lethal Weapon, and The Witches of Eastwick. Hey, yo. But, you got unique, different movies. And, of course, we could really get into, I guess you got, of course, Beverly Hills Cop 2 being IP at that, but barely at that point. But, again, barely. And new director as well. So you're getting some new version of the story. But is there a way to just go highest grossing movies of the 80s? What year did Indiana Jones drop, chat? Was that, I should know what year that dropped, because Harrison Ford, of course, was having Star Wars and Indiana Jones going on at the same time. 84? Okay, the year before Indiana Jones dropped. So we're looking at 333 in this box office number for Harrison Ford. But let's go back here. And I guess we could look at Star Wars as well, too. Hey, yo, chat, for movie then. Oh, Ghostbusters at 229. Hey, yo, chat. So Beverly Hills Cop at 234. Oh, we give Beverly Hills Cop movie of the 80s. Lock it in. What are we looking at for Back to the Future? 210. Oh, okay, Back to the Future is moving down the list. 84 is the peak year in movies, chat. You got 2 movies over $200 million in the box office. And Indiana Jones, 179. Ayo, Gremlins, 153. Karate Kid, 90 million, top 5. Beverly Hills Cop, Ghostbusters, and Indiana Jones. I mean, yeah, 84 wins, chat. It is what it is. I mean, that's pretty close. Wait a second. Let's go back to 85. 86 or 87, whatever that year was. It's a strong sleeper. See, Rambo and Rocky. Yeah, again, they're whatever you could say for the quality for them in the franchise, for sure. But in terms of the importance of movie history, like they are multiple versions of a movie that already happened versus in 84, you know, we're getting new stories every Beverly Hills Cop. And I mean, obviously, you know, new stories. That's a great new groundbreaking movie in a lot of ways for Hollywood. Ghostbusters, Indiana Jones, Gremlins, and the Karate Kid. 84 is the best year in movie history, chat. The Police Academy, Footloose, Romance in the Stone, Star Trek 3. We have to go to Star Trek 3 before we get a first movie, and then Splash at number 10. This is incredible, chat. We can just sit and just stare at the perfection of no numbers at the end of any of the titles. There's just no numbers. I mean, that's just like unheard of. Can we go to just 2020? We could go 2025 in film, but we're even still halfway through the year as well too. And I feel like, with like Mission Impossible and stuff, maybe they're not even there. We're not even numbering them anymore. It's just Mission Impossible. It's just Fallout. We're even past the point of numbering. And yeah, the international box office is going to take over as well too. The Minecraft movie, Lilo and Stitch, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, Detective Chinatown 1900, How to Train Your Dragon, Captain America Brave New World, Thunderbolt Sinners, and Final Destination's Bloodline. So, and then the number 1 as well too, Niza 2 animated movie. And then like the Minecraft movie number 2. So the Minecraft movie, again, this is literally, like, we could say repeats, new, whatever stuff. Like, it's all, I guess, was all the stuff in the 80s based on books or whatever. I guess it's just our knowledge. But we're talking about We're talking about a video game, a live action movie remake, a franchise movie, another live action movie remake, another franchise movie, another franchise movie. I mean, even Final Destination's Bloodline is a franchise movie, but that's at least, like, it being just being a franchise just sticking to one set of movies is like a refreshing franchise at this point. It's like, hey, yo, it's not a franchise that has TV shows and multiple things. It's just like, okay, there's a Final Destination Bloodline movie every couple of years. Cool. I'm in on that. So, again, the powerhouse movie of Sinners being the one sort of original story that we're getting at this point. 2024 in film. So, 40 years after 1985, chat. 40 years after 1985, we've got Inside Out 2. We've got Deadpool and Wolverine. So we got 2 movies. We got a Deadpool movie and a Wolverine movie, but it's one movie. We've got Moana 2, Despicable Me 4, Wicked, Mufasa the Lion King, Dune Part 2, another crossover, Godzilla x Kong, Kung Fu Panda 4, and Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I mean, the kind of stuff, chat, this is like, you don't even realize you're being indoctrinated until it's happening. You don't even realize that the brainwashing and the way that, I mean, that of course movies have fallen, but it's just, you don't even realize just how simple it's gotten with just like, okay, Moana 2, Despicable Me 4, where we've just all of a sudden now we're just adding numbers to the end of every movie. This is Hollywood at this point. Where if you go back to 1984, 40 years ago, and it's like, okay, this is just a movie. They just made 10 movies and they're like, these are all good. And all right, they made a bunch of movies and then they're like, these are the best ones. And The next year we go out and we're like, hey, you know what we're doing? We're making a whole other set of movies. And maybe there's another one in there where it's, and I guess maybe we can go back and study that year as well too, because that maybe that's the turning point year where they're like, look how great all this stuff was that we made, because all those things did get franchised. Like, as much as we want to say those things are all great, like, maybe we just go again back to like 2015 where it's like, okay, earlier in the Marvel stretch, or 2008, earlier in some of the stuff where it's like, okay, it is just the first version of all this stuff, and then it's just become more diluted than even some of the stuff in the 80s, in the 90s. Maybe that's what it is then, just over diluting of the property, more so than just us going back to I guess, that's kind of saying the same thing, but I think you get what I'm saying. It's okay if we go back to properties, but how much do we go back to properties? And again, mixing it with the, like, is there any sort of original, and we don't want to be too disrespectful here to Hollywood. Like, there is obviously some stuff being made, but in the mainstream, major leading the box office type way, it's obviously not the same thing. But yeah, I mean, again, you get Beverly Hills Cop, a couple of them, Ghostbusters even today. I mean, I guess even this year, I guess, so what does that speak to, Chad? Did 1984 ruin movies, or did we ruin 1984? Because we've made Beverly Hills Cop 4, the however many Ghostbusters movies and reboots. We've made another Indiana Jones movie. I feel like we probably made another Gremlins movie. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know, but there is definitely probably a Gremlins movie that was made in the last couple of years. And the Karate Kid, I mean, we got Cobra Kai and all that stuff. The Police Academy, I feel like they just redid that. And then Footloose, I feel like they just redid as well too. I could be wrong, but let me see here. Let's go into the Footloose page. Hey, yo. Let's see what we get. Remake? 2011. So one of the earlier remakes, I guess, for the decade. They got that one out of the way. But Gremlins, when was the newest? Is this just like a Gremlins movie that I'm not thinking of? In the notes further reading, chat. Ayo, Gremlins franchise? Gremlins film? Wiki Commons? Oh, ayo, what is this? But, here we go. Gremlins franchise. Let's see what we get. If there's another franchise that I feel like, how many TV shows can we get out of this? Multiverses? Oh, video games. Animated series. Okay, there is an animated series. 2023 to present. American animated fantasy horror series. Yeah, maybe I feel like I've seen a trailer or something for that. Gremlins 2, 1990. So even then, it's like, okay, wait a couple of years. But yeah, I have no Romancing the Stone 2, if I'm not mistaken. I'm probably wrong, chat. There's probably sequels. The success to Romancing the Stone led to Jewel of the Nile without Zemeckis, directed but with Douglas Turner and DeVito all returning. Oh, whoa! So they did remake everything in 1984 from that time as well too. Hey, yo, Chad. So I mean, Hollywood. The story of Hollywood is it's always been as twisted as it was at any point. It's just a cycle, Chad. It's just a vicious cycle. But Back to the Future, they did get something right there. And like I said, 2025, we got Sinners, Chad. Maybe we don't get every movie being a Back to the Future on the box score, and maybe Sinners didn't quite get to number one. Maybe, just like as well too, it's a rated R like movie. You can take the kids multiple times. That definitely plays a role into it as well too. I think the Deadpool Wolverine thing, was that like rated R? But that's a little, as much as you want to say it, as much as it definitely is, as much as Deadpool is like a very rated R character, it is also gets away with being a comic book character, and there's just a weird sort of, it's like, okay, Deadpool gets away with it. It literally just is what, in terms of like I guess like, okay, a guy with not kids talking about what are the kids gonna get. Let's see, but it's like, who's watching Deadpool, right? It's a comic book character. It's for the whatever age bracket. It's like, it's gonna be the people that are probably not gonna be allowed to go watch rated. So, like, obviously there's something that's being allowed to happen there. Something that's working. And again, it's just popular. Marvel is just a success as well too with adults, and with there's just a fan base is just going to go, or at that point as well too, that was going to go see a movie, it's still just any cost. But yeah, it was just like, oh yeah, I was gonna make it a big priority, of course, to go see the movie. Oh, Chad, that's right. Doc Brown's got the plutonium because he's hiding it from the people. Hey yo, it's like, okay, so maybe the randomness of that storyline is why we were like, well, what was going on there? But are they about to show up? Because they're in the parking lot, and obviously they chase him down in the parking lot. But now I don't remember exactly what point. What point does the terrorist group show back up in the parking lot, Chad? I feel like, is that earlier on? No, that might be late. Over under for the organization and the name as well too. I don't know what the details were on that, but yeah. So either way, again, the family aspect of it all works as well too. Michael J. Fox just translates, chat. People love Michael J. Fox. Doc Brown's iconic. I mean, the girlfriend, chat. What's her? Hey yo, get an IMDb run on her career real quick. And that's also an 80s, and I guess, I don't know if we need to dissect Hollywood history to figure out why this happened, but I mean, you'd also just get like, okay, why is this person just in like like 3 movies and then just as well too? Like, I feel like you just don't get that as much these days. Maybe it's just more low-key and we don't know about it. Okay, yeah, they do show up right now. Okay, I guess, how many parking lot scenes are there in this movie? But, I mean, they need a lot. There's a lot of open space driving scenes, so maybe we're just mixing that with just a parking lot in general. Doc Brown with the revolver that doesn't work is going to have to a little bit more than that. We've got, automatic weapons and stuff, definitely very, semi-auto. I guess we're not going to necessarily... I don't know what we're working with here. I'm just looking at the rate of fire anyways. Oh, chat. Doc Brown. Down for the count. It is what it is. Oh, don't get Marty, chat. Don't get Marty. Okay, he gets away. Hey, I was like, whoa, what happens? Does Marty McFly get away? Oh, and how do they get their hands on a Volkswagen Bug as well too, chat? Is that a proportionate Volkswagen Bug? I mean, we have to go back. I guess he's standing out the top of it. I don't know if that's just throwing it off, but okay, it's looking all right there. But, and you forget Doc Brown does die in this movie, chat. Hey, yo, it is what it is. So I don't know if there's a, how they much they had to fight for the PG-13 rating here. Do we have to go back? Is Back to the Future rated R, chat? The Doc Brown death scene pushes it over into an R rating? I don't quite think so. The top movies of 1985 all just rated R. Is Rambo and Rocky? I don't feel like they are. They're probably just like PG. I thought I was on Tubi the other night and I was like, wait a second, because I was at our grandma's house and I was like, what can we just throw on here? It's a little low key, not going too crazy. I was like, wait a second, Anchorman's PG-13. Oh, bet, throw that on. So yeah, it was great, chat. Perfect. But yeah, I forget why even we... Oh, the girlfriend. Yeah, what is the... Leah Thompson, chat. Leah Thompson. Let's see. Filmography, Leah Thompson. I feel like she had a pretty decent run. Oh, chat, 1988. Casual Sex? Hey, yo. Is a 1988 American comedy film about 2 female friends in their 20s who go on a vacation resort in search of their ideal men. Hey, yo, chat. That was, of course, after the success of Back to the Future, but before Back to the Future 2. So kind of the I need to explore as an actor kind of movie. It's the indie movie side of the career that we're working on there. And then Back to the Future 2 and 3. The Wizard of Loneliness, chat. An America dramedy film. Leah Thompson, Lance Guest, Dylan Baker, John Randolph. Howard the Duck. I guess we're going backward here in this Margaret. So 1985, Back to the Future. 1986, Space Camp and Howard the Duck. Some Kind of Wonderful, Casual Sex, and Wizard of Loneliness in 88. And then Back to the Future in Part 2 and 3 in 89 and 90. Article 99 in 1992. So I guess she did have a good run, chat. It's just sort of is she popping up on Tubi? How many other Hulu movies is Leah Thompson appearing in? Looks like there's a good executive role as well too, being that's happening here in the 2000s and 2010s. But oh, Jaws 3D, a cameo chat in Jaws 3D, starring Dennis Quaid and Bess Armstrong and Simon McCorkindale, and then all the right moves, of course, chat. And then Red Dawn, The Wildlife, Back to the Future. So all the right moves in Back to the Future. I guess that's a couple of, and the Back to the Future franchise of it as well too. I guess she is you get a sort of a stacked filmography that way a little bit. But again, it's like the amount of different films that you do as well too. And wait a second, is this is not the girlfriend chat. Is this the mom? Hey yo. Okay, so wait, who's the girlfriend? Leah Thompson is the mom. The girlfriend is I guess we just looked up the first name, chat. Hey yo. Just right to it. Let's see here. Do they have the cast? Oh, Claudia Wells is the girlfriend. So wait, Jennifer Parker. That's right, chat. Jennifer Parker. Okay, let's see here what we got for Jennifer Parker. Okay, this makes more sense for what we were thinking, chat. Hey, yo, shout out to Jennifer Parker. But 1985, Back to the Future. 2008, Stillwater's Born. 2011, Alien Armageddon. We don't even have links to these movies. It is what it is. I'm sure they're all quality projects. They're tucked away in vaults somewhere, chat. They're too good for us to watch. But, and I don't know. We just start going. Leaving acting. Yeah, yo, see, chat. You don't want to necessarily, start judging the moves. I'm just saying again. The rewatch. The where are you? How are you intersecting with this person's career? This person as an actor, the watch time, where are they popping up on the TV screen? It's just the different roles that you take. It's just the role that was there in the 80s, and it's a crazy role. It's like, okay, if you're gonna get one movie in the 80s, you may as well just get like maybe one of the most iconic ones, and one of the best roles in that as well too. And I feel like we probably haven't seen Back to the Future 2 and 3 longer than we've seen Back to the Future 1. But I feel like she still is the peak girlfriend of the films as well too. And I feel like is it just a different one every time? Maybe maybe that's the move after you can't recast a number 2. It's like we have to go a different direction for the second one. Maybe we just go a third different actress for the third one and just lean in and just go, okay, this is the way it is now. 1989, Claudia Wells, Elizabeth Shue replacing Claudia Wells. So yeah, she's in Back to the Future 2 and 3. So I don't know. That's a tough one, chat. That's a tough one, I guess. Elizabeth Shue versus Jennifer Parker. We'll put up a poll, I guess. We'll leave it up to the people to decide. It's always the best way. But yeah, and of course the DeLorean chat, top end movie cars. We were just discussing movie cars with somebody at work today. We gotta figure out where the DeLorean ranks in there, because we were talking about the one that was being mentioned was Eleanor from Gone in 60 Seconds. So hey, we just rewatched that one recently as well too. But and Eleanor always making a classic getaway at the end of that movie. I mean, iconic car. I mean, again, that sort of Mustang, John Wick type car as well too. I mean, it's just an iconic car to want to have. But the DeLorean, if you had the time machine capabilities, I mean, the 88 miles an hour, it's definitely, some of the circumstances and just the overall technology of the car make it a little bit, you got to put in a little bit of work to get it up to the proper speed. That's for sure. But it still is, at the end of the day, pretty manageable. Once you get going anyways, if you can get going and you have the room, you should be able to be going back in time. And it seems like in Back to the Future world, time travel is not too crazy risky. I mean, there are general rules, like there is a risk. Like, you can definitely mess some stuff up. But again, I guess the travel aspect of it as well too. You're not like being physically warped through anything, so that's nice. Most time travel, I guess that doesn't really happen, but I don't know. Maybe something I just need like okay, this time travel. It's like you're just like 5% distorted every time you go through. So it's like okay, you only get like 6 trips through time travel, and then you have to really manage it properly. Maybe that's a Tubi original chat that we can cook up. And I, of course, love the idea of an old movie going back in time to an old time. And again, we're talking 40 years later now. So I get what year do they go back to exactly? That should be an obvious one, chat. But just pinpoint it down. 55. They're back in 55. So is this movie actually set in 85? Yeah, in 85 it is set. So they're going back 30 years. So, I mean, almost to where we're at this movie at this point, going back in time. But the idea that, because you start getting to a certain point where it's just like, it's not all old, but it becomes a little more defined by broader periods of time. So the 1900s are still kind of decade defined, but it is still a little bit of like, okay, some of the decades can start blending together a little bit in sort of the bigger picture of how history looks and moves and some of that stuff. Like the 50s and the 80s, I mean, there's definite increases. And again, like I was saying, in terms of what we're able to do in the 80s in terms of technology compared to the 50s. Like, I mean, there's definite improvements. Like the 80s stuff, some of the 80s stuff. I mean, some of the 50s stuff still holds up. I mean, I'm not, it is what it is. Some of the Wizard of Oz still holds up. It's from 30s. But the capability for the 80s is a little bit greater at that point. But some of the overall aesthetic stuff, we hadn't started obviously moving into really modern times. At that point, excuse me, chat. Whoa! Let's see if we get a whole trilogy here, chat. Nope. I think we're just going two movies. It is what it is. But yeah, again, so it's not like he's going back. They really tried to define it with some of the period stuff in some of the later ones, but it's like, okay, just a quick jot back 30s. And again, you got to set it with Doc Brown. You're keeping it in the lifespan of one individual and the lifespan of his parents and all the different stuff. So it makes sense for the sake of the story, obviously, that he needs to go back that far. But it is still, for the aesthetic of time travel, a little bit weird. Because if you're comparing it to like anything now, there's just going to be a big jump. Like any of the, speaking of cars, some of the stuff. Yeah, I guess I've been seeing some of the electric car stuff is like, now we're specifically making it look this 70s and 50s and I guess maybe again more 50s, a little bit more distinct at that point. But I don't know, they don't have like when did the like the ice cream shop go out of style, chat? Because that's just like a cool thing. Because I feel like you go to those little towns, again, definitely a Midwest thing for sure. This kind of cafe, diner. I guess even now, like, where would you find this? And maybe not even just a Midwest thing. I mean, I guess like maybe more of a niche sort of gimmicky type thing. But the vibe of the little ice cream root beer float, like, I don't know, go in and grab some French fries or something. A funnel cake. Who don't love a funnel cake? Like, I feel like, and maybe they are, again, like maybe in the big cities they're a little bit more prevalent, but the big city, ayo, chat. But I feel like the idea of that is not too far away from working. You get like all the ice cream shop and the cute cafe style type things. I think it's just all kind of a merge of that, and all that stuff is pretty popular for the most part. So, tough, chat, of course, go back in history. And I mean, chat, what would you do if you went back in history and, of course, you're just like, okay, these family members are just like all just like really weird. Or not all of them, I guess. But, in this case, of course, what's his dad's name, chat? What's Mr. McFly's? George McFly. In this case, George McFly is really, not the coolest guy, chat. So I guess for the most part, And there's a transformation at the end of the movie for sure. But for the most part, yeah, it was not necessarily the coolest guy going into the movie as well. So, definitely begs to wonder where Marty McFly is getting some of his coolness genes from. I don't know. His mom's definitely carrying there as well too. Maybe just the mom's family in general. Maybe even the dad's family. Maybe the dad's got a brother that's like really cool. I guess, do we see Uncle? Do they establish that George McFly is an only child? I mean, make no mistake, George McFly has some definite only child energy for sure. But if there was sort of some counterbalance coolness to work in there to help our guy. I mean, Marty McFly's got a vest on, chat. He's got a puffer vest. Like, there's just no way that George McFly, in his life slash profession as a, what is he, like a writer, comic book guy? Like, he's just not a puffer vest guy. I mean, speaking of things that are timeless, like the puffer vest even, like McFly's look, is the puffer vest still, we're not in fall either, it's summer, so no puffer vest. If it is a puffer vest right now, it's just a puffer vest, make no mistake. But the puffer vest sort of denim flannel look. Oh, chat. So not only does he get, of course, just slapped around by Biff in the coffee shop, but he's a little bit of a creep as well. Not even a little bit, chat. He's just a full-on creep as well. Almost like a, wait a second, do I have to go like, oh, well, I guess, his dad falls out of the tree in general. But a little bit of like a, do I have to go knock him out of the tree almost at this point? Saves him from getting hit by a car. A little, you have to do, I guess, you have to step in and save a life at some point. But still, I think it's like, you just fell out of this tree because you were creeping on this neighbor. So maybe a little tap by some oncoming traffic is not the worst thing in the world. I don't think that would be. We're not saying like, okay, and I guess he has to save George McFly in that moment, because if he just lets George McFly get run over by a car, then unfortunately Marty McFly also just disappears. Like, what a way to end it going back in time, chat. Like, your dad climbs up a tree, creeps on, just creeping, watching people through a window, falls out of the tree. You're like, well, this scumbag, I'll just let him get hit by this car. Oh, wait a second. If he gets hit by the car, I get wiped away, but it's too late at that point. Just, double thud, tire treads over the top. So, yeah, right away, chat. Right away, just Lorraine. And I guess, shout out again, Leah Thompson. We got it straight now, chat. We're locked in. Oh, Marty McFly. Hey, yo, chat. Put some pants on. But immediately just throwing herself at Marty McFly. I mean, she's pretty attractive, chat. I gotta say, hot take. Leah Thompson, Lorraine McFly, back in her day, chat. Hey, yo, pretty attractive. I don't know. You guys have to remember, like, what's necessarily the family situation here, but you can't imagine that she's not necessarily not had a couple of different guys, make eyes at her, or, haven't necessarily asked her out. I mean, isn't there like some school dance stuff happening here? And I mean, in terms of her getting asked out, she doesn't necessarily have a track record of it being in the most, courteous aspect as well too. But again, it's sort of a, you would just imagine that in the day to day that there would be just a couple of nice young gentlemen at some point that might step up and say, hey, what's going on, Leah Thompson? And also Marty McFly with just the purple underwear, the pink underwear. Shout out, chat. I mean, it's an aggressive pink underwear. I feel like, again, chat, we're definitely not anti-pink over here. We get the pink hat off to the side. I feel like there's definitely ways to use it to accent and make an outfit stand out. But it looked a little borderline there. We have to go back in history and see. Was that his girlfriend's? Was it some crazies? Was Marty McFly being a little freaky guy before he's going back in time? Hey, yo, chat. What was going on? Marty McFly wearing Claudia Wells' clothes around this entire movie. Hey, yo, chat. It is what it is. This is really there is an R-rated version of Back to the Future out there. I mean, and again with the moves that are being made throughout this movie, it's not that there probably even a couple of ratings that we could go up as well. But for the sake of our own live stream chat, we'll just keep it right there. So the chat watching Jackie Gleason. What is this? The Honeymooners? Or is this like some Jackie Gleason television hour? I mean, obviously the man was successful. Oh, no, we've got the Honeymooners, chat. Shout out. Again, we were locked in on sitcoms back in the day, so it just takes a couple of seconds of some clips from one of those shows, and we definitely know what it is. But should we talk about the Denver moves, chat? Hey, yo. I was like, let's talk about this movie. And then just was like, oh, forgot about the moves. But we are back, chat. Let's get locked back in. Denver is a busy team. I don't even know if we need to, or if we can get a list of all their moves. If it's going to be totally updated. Or if we should have just compiled a list from the Instagram post here. Hey, yo, Spotrack, just load. What's going on? Free agency day, draft day. All these important days, Spotrack's just crashing and it's not able to get it to work. They are second in apron space, chat, so they're expensive roster at this point. But, I mean, the biggest move was the trade of Michael Porter Jr. and if I want to remember correctly, a 2032 first-round pick to the Brooklyn Nets for Cam Johnson. They also bring in Jonas Valanciunas and Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway Jr. So Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway Jr. on some minimum contracts. I mean, make no mistake, some guys that... And this is the funny thing about the league as well, too, because, I mean, the conversation of contracts and room and all this different stuff. And, listening to, like, Simmons and Russillo talk about some of the off-season preview type stuff and with... Again, where the cap space stands in 2025, some of these guys, of course, like, are they worth more than the minimum contract? But the minimum contract is kind of the only thing that's going to be available. They're worth more than the minimum contract, but not quite like the mid-level exception. So, is there going to be those middle contracts to be able to give them in that type of way? Who knows? They'll just have to take the minimum contract. But it's like, oh yeah, these guys also just got overpaid like a handful of years ago. There was also a handful of years ago where like, wait, the salary cap spikes and now everybody's getting overpaid so much. It's like, you know what, Tim Hardaway Jr., you got overpaid a couple of years ago. We reinvest in a different way in 2025. You're a little underpaid now. And maybe Tim Hardaway Jr. not the raise it. Bruce Brown is definitely what I'm thinking of. And, he definitely had, of course, the 1 or 2 seasons there of the 20 men. So this might just be the Bruce Brown cycle, honestly. And it's a good bet, if you want to make 10, 12, Luke Cornett goes to the Spurs for like 10, 12 million dollars a year. If you want to get 10 to 12 million dollars a year for a team like that, or Finney Smith on the Rockets for could Bruce Brown have gotten the Finney Smith contract? I don't know, two-way stuff. Finney Smith's defense, I think, is definitely going to add to the value there with what Houston is wanting to bring in. But do you want to do that for 3 years? Or do you want to do what you just did? You want to make a minimum contract 1 year, and then, oh no, Bruce Brown's really good. Let's give him $22 million for 2 years, and now you're making, you're still making your $45 million, but it's a little bit more of an adventurous path. And you bounce around from team to team, and it's like, okay, you'll be on a good team this year, and every couple of years you'll have a chance to compete for a title when you go back on the minimum contract. And we know that he can play really good with Jokic as well too. If any of these guys can play good with Jokic. Of course, Bruce Brown again. But that was the main thing I was thinking. If we want to talk about walking around the restaurant, what were you thinking about, chat? This is the main thing I was thinking about walking around the restaurant. Is like, oh, this is just how good Jokic is at this point. Because, again, I still want to say with the league ranking stuff, which we'll get into in a episode or two here in the future. We'll do like a top 100 updates after the playoffs. See where we stand for the offseason for 2025. And it's probably a good thing as well, too, that we've waited, because I think the landing spot will affect our perception of some of this stuff. It's like, oh, is this a better situation, obviously, for this guy or not? But with Giannis, with Jokic is, obviously an ideal version of that, where it's like, there really is just any move that they can make where it's like, okay, I kind of just like this guy with Jokic. Like, I don't even know if the player has to be a better or worse player. I don't even know if my brain would be able to the move, and if it would even calculate the move as a better or worse move, or if it would just always twist it into being a good move because it's paired with Jokic. Like, I mean, obviously Westbrook is like that. Like, Westbrook is very, like, oh, maybe a little situation specific on where he goes, but if he's with Jokic, it's like, hey, I kind of like Russell Westbrook. And again, Bruce Brown, I kind of like in general. Tim Hardaway Jr. can give you scoring, and he was an important guy for the Pistons last year for sure. But the Nuggets, again, are also trying to probably win a title. Not even probably, trying to win a title next year. If you're thinking, how do we maximize these prime Jokic years? Like, that should be the goal. And again, Porter Jr. was, I mean, more like the fourth best guy at this point. Maybe not even that, night to night. And Gordon definitely really stepped up in the playoffs. But I think with the way Murray's kind of been up and down, and Gordon is just still not quite a full-on scorer that same type of way, like, they don't really have a number two. They still have an opening for a number two option if Murray is a little inconsistent. And none of these guys can really, I think, ascend up in that type of way. Again, Porter hadn't really been doing it a ton, and really, had he ever been doing it? But that was obviously the ideal for him there. So you kind of know that, swapping him for Cam Johnson as well too, like, that is the thing that you're kind of committing to, is like, yeah, Porter is this guy at this point. He's a 3-point floor spacer, off the ball, movement type scorer, and maybe Cam Johnson's a little bit better defensively, some of the energy stuff. He'll just be a little bit more two-way guy presence for us that we don't have to worry about at the end of games. But again, like, Porter at least did have that. And yeah, Johnson will give you, maybe there is some creation stuff there for sure. And again, Bruce Brown, ball handling off Jokic a little bit, is definitely interesting as well too. But again, a title team, like, if this is your starting lineup around Jokic, or even, if it's, and this is literally probably your starting lineup next year. Like, you've got Jokic, Cam Johnson, or I guess Jokic, Gordon, and Cam Johnson, Murray, and Bruce Brown. So it's pretty good. And again, you get a couple more veterans. You're a better overall team than you were last year. But I don't know if you're in a better spot to win the title, outside of the fact that you just bulk up Jokic even a little bit more. And that Jokic was already in a Game 7 against that Thunder team as well. So I guess the question just becomes kind of the outpace of the Thunder team at this point. And the Jokic sort of performance as well too. Like, I think there is, as good as Jokic has been in the playoffs, and this is the thing I think I keep going back to with Giannis, is that that Giannis final series is one of the best series that anybody has ever had in general in any playoff series. But it's a special level that he ascended to, where it's like, okay, he ascended an extra level, and then, like, even an extra level above that. And Jokic has obviously ascended that extra level in the playoffs, but again, the conference finals and in the finals as well too, he's been awesome. He won the finals. His numbers are outstanding, but the bar for him as a player is, from a numbers standpoint, a little bit higher than most players. And I feel like there's just that extra level of, LeBron in 2018, Steph against the Celtics in 2022. Like, there's just that extra level that these guys can get to, where it's okay, man, this is like the real extra special stuff that who else is doing this? Who else? And again, Jokic is like, I go back and look at those closeout games against Miami, and it's more of the fact that Miami matchup was a little predetermined going in. And again, Jokic was part of that as well too. They didn't have the stop for Jokic. But I feel like there's still a series we could see from him where we're just like, this is absolutely, hands down, the best offensive player that has ever played the history of the game. Again, just like a conversation of what we're watching, not necessarily, does it unfold that way actually going forward. But Western Conference semis versus Phoenix. So him versus Booker and Durant that one year, he was 34, 13, and 10. 59% from the field, 44% from three, 85% from the free throw line. So how do you look at those numbers and go, oh man, what's the series where Jokic hasn't gone like 2 levels up? In the finals against Miami, he's 30, 14, and 7. Casual numbers. 58% from the field, 42% from 3. So they don't have like a game score for the series. There's no way to look that up. His most points, 207. Also that Western Conference semis as well too. This year against OKC, 28, 14, and 6. 48% from the field, 32% from three. So yeah, if Jokic is, wet in threes, and that was, this playoff run as well too, just a little bit. I'm, probably got that just in my mind as him not making threes this past playoffs. But he didn't really make threes, or I guess the last two playoffs really, not just the last couple of series this year. But I feel like there is still another iconic, absolute all-time series for him to get to. Does he just need a 40-point a game series again? He's got all the assists and 34 and 10.3 assists, 27.8 points, 11.8 assists. Like, he's producing as many points as all these guys. That's for sure. And make no mistake with his I'm just producing. What am I saying? But he's still able to definitely do that. I'm not putting that obviously past him. It's Jokic. He's capable of anything he wants in the basketball court. I'm just saying that, the Giannis series here is just like oh man, that is insane type series. It is, let's see here, finals. We've got 35, 13, and 5, 61% from the field. The 3-point thing, but he's 15 attempts over a couple of games. So 35 a game again in the finals at 61% of the field. So I guess, a little bit closer. I was thinking that Giannis was like 38 a game in that finals, but he definitely was, the last couple of, and he was injured as well too. So Jokic might have been hurt in the finals against Miami. Make no mistake. But yeah, I guess, either way, whether or not, it's not even again about him underachieving. It's not Stephen A here saying Jokic is underachieved. But I just feel like there's still a playoff series for him to still even have it, or I guess just still room for him to have his best playoff series. So yeah, 34 a game, and again the 10 assists and 59% from the field, so it's pretty close. But the counter would be, again, it's the semis versus Phoenix. It's not the Western Conference Finals, and Giannis did that in the finals, and Giannis did that in the biggest moments at the end of the finals when it was close and it was in closeout games, and he had his biggest performance in the closeout game. So again, Jokic has a ring as well too. It's not like we can give him a no ring storylines. It's just that type of thing. Having your best series in that type of moment hasn't necessarily happened for Jokic. It is what it is. Again, the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers, they were 4-0 in that series, and Murray is awesome against the Lakers. Murray just torches the Lakers, so they don't need Jokic to score as much. But he's 50% from the field that series, 47% from the field, 8 for 17, I guess. But 27, 14, and 12. And then in the finals, 30, 14, and 7. Again, still, for Jokic, incredible for anybody else. For Jokic, that's just foot off the gas, I guess. And again, it's the baseline of Jokic. The rebounding definitely proves that the effort was there. I mean, 28, 16, and 10, basically, on 59% is up there for his best series as well, too. The Lakers in the first round last year, the loss to Minnesota. But, again, we're still talking first and second round playoff series here. Not the one Western Conference Finals and the one finals. Hey, yo, chat, we're starting storylines. Jokic, he's only been to one finals. He's only been to one Western Conference Finals. But I'm just, I guess I don't even know if this is exactly what I was saying here. But what I was going to say was this does prove the greatness of the perception of Jokic, of course. And the greatness of, this roster could continue to prove the greatness of Jokic, of course. But again, also our confidence in Jokic to lift these guys up. Because, again, this is not a championship team in my mind. Cam Johnson, Jonas Valanciunas, and Bruce Brown. But next to Jokic, it definitely can be. And Aaron Gordon and some of the other pieces. And you still have your younger guys on the team that can continue to take a step forward if you need them to as well. And with some of the veterans there, maybe not needed to be as important this next season. So you have the guys where it's like, okay, in a playoff series, who do we trust? Like Tim Hardaway Jr., Peyton Watson and Christian Brown. I guess Christian Brown, of course, is getting into is in the trustworthy rankings as well too. So he probably starts over Bruce Brown as well. So Bruce Brown goes back to kind of off the bench, can kind of be a, he takes that takes the Westbrook minutes as that off the bench lead sort of guard, kind of maybe a playmaker ish when Jokic is not on the court, but also when Murray is not on the court as well too. But you've got Jokic, Gordon, Cam Johnson, Christian Braun, and Murray, and that's your final five next year. So again, you're really making the switch for Cam Johnson and Porter. But then your bench would be then at that point. And Valanciunas, we should mention as well too. Again, if anything, are we thinking you're going to play Jokic and Valanciunas and Aaron Gordon all together in a playoff series of a playoff game? Probably not going to happen. It would be probably a very comfortable lead if they were all three on the court at the same time. And Jokic was at the free throw line. They just haven't quite subbed him out yet. Why is Valanciunas and Aaron Gordon out there at the same time with Jokic? Who knows? Is Jokic somehow with no spacing like that? Jokic just still somehow cooking, of course. But he is depth. And you know what they didn't have last year? Depth. And you know what else they didn't have? Depth for Jokic. You know what they might need in the next couple of years? Some depth for Jokic. Jokic, if he's going to be at the best in these playoff series as well, too, he's going to need to be at least maybe a little bit fresher than he's been the last couple of years. Maybe, Jokic get a little bit more jogging in the offseason as well, too. But also have a backup center in there who can provide just a spell of relief as well. And a guy that can kind of be a little bit more independent than some of the centers that you've had in the past, where it's like DeAndre Jordan's been their backup center there, which, shout out, obviously a legend. But even at the peak of his powers is still a pick and roll type guy. Oh, Biff, settle down. Hey, yo, Biff. But, still a pick and roll type guy who is very reliant on the guard and the other players to get him, whereas Valanciunas can kind of operate, obviously, in a one-on-one capacity by himself. And maybe you can play him and Jokic together. Again, the Aaron Gordon, other sort of pieces of it are interesting. But because you've brought in a couple of extra wings as well now, too, if you go, and Jokic, again, is floor spacing as well. So if you go Jokic and Valanciunas, and then Cam Johnson as your three, and then you just run that Murray, Christian Braun backcourt, or it's Murray and Tim Hardaway Jr. if you want more floor spacing, or Murray and Strother, or whatever it is. Like, you can play. I'm kind of interested to see if there is Jokic Valanciunas minutes, what those look like together, because that could be fun. And Jokic playing with that type of post-up player. Like, Valanciunas is a little Nurkic-y from where they were like, we need to trade Nurkic to let Jokic fully blossom as a star. But now, all these years later, we can bring another sort of a guy like that back into the team. But, yeah, Zeke Nunn is still there. So Christian Braun, Peyton Watson, Holmes, Strother. Yeah, Chad. That's a four-person collection of, again, do we call that the Denver core going forward? I mean, it kind of is if they re-sign on some of these guys. But as options, as youth options on their team, that is fun option as well too. So again, for Denver, they're definitely better. Their team wasn't very good last year. It is what it is. It was not playing that great, and it was injured, and it didn't have that much depth, and they needed more experience from the younger guys, and there's just a lot of, and they fired their coach, and there's just a lot of different anti-factors working against it that now with some extra experience in there is definitely going to make them better. But again, it's just Jokic is so good that's like, oh yeah, no, Tim Hardaway Jr. is obviously a title contender if he's playing with Jokic, right? Like, Tim Hardaway Jr. is obviously a guy that can give you 17 points in a playoff series next year. Bruce Brown, I mean, I've been telling you guys this whole time how important Bruce Brown is. It's like, no, I can only say that now because he's playing next to Jokic. It is what it is. Oh, I'm sitting on the remote chat. Hey, yo, shout out the first buffer of the day. We haven't had a pause. We haven't had an internet buffer at this point up until I'm sitting on the remote. But, yeah, so Giannis, as much as I love Giannis, and as much as I think that Giannis will impact the game almost equally as much as Jokic can, again, the confidence level that I have in other teammates. And that, again, the thing at the end of the day that has been proven out is there is equal playoff success, injuries included, and all the different stuff between Giannis and Jokic. So I go, okay, at this point in history, the numbers, the only thing we can really give Jokic is the benefit of the extra numbers. The benefit of the impact is still very, very similar. But the benefit of raising the production and the likability and the value perception of the players around him definitely goes to Jokic. I mean, look at what happened with Lillard. Lillard just got waived. And I mean, again, Lillard, it's a little bit on his own merit as well, too, and the fact that he didn't like Milwaukee. But, you know, is Lillard waived if he's on Denver? I mean, who knows? Maybe he is, honestly, because maybe it's just a situation that just needs to be worked out for the better in whatever reasons. But any guys you put with Jokic, this is the missing piece. This is the last piece. I believe in any move that they can make next to Jokic. But that being said, chat, Jokic is 30. That 2032 pick is a good pick. Hey, yo. 2032? I mean, you always go, okay, in the modern NBA, like, what if that guy's not on the team? Like, what if he requests a trade? Who cares if Jokic doesn't request a trade, to be honest? 2032? That's 8 years from now. Jokic is going to be 38. I mean, I guess Jokic could still definitely be awesome at 38, but I don't know. I feel like you could probably trade that pick in 2028 for a star player if you want as well, too. If you just build your team good over the next couple of years, you're like, wait a second, what happened? We got this Denver pick just hanging around we can throw into a trade? Let's see how valuable, you know, we can just randomly make that. But that is, like, so far out that, you know, so far out just in terms of years that it's honestly maybe so crazy that it won't end up hurting him that much. Just be like, again, you maybe just gets moved around and is what it is at that point. But maybe they end up getting it back in 8 years after all the maneuvering is said and done. But yeah, the Nuggets are definitely gearing up. The Milwaukee Bucks are definitely gearing up. Like we said, there was some stuff with Brooklyn, so I think it was more so D'Angelo Russell left and went to the Mavs, which I'm pro, chat. I'll like the Instagram graphics. I'll slap a like on those posts. It is what it is. Again, Kyrie is kind of injured, so they'll need him to be a little bit more important earlier in the season. But if they get Kyrie back and D'Angelo Russell moves to the bench, D'Angelo Russell off the bench in Dallas next to Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis, you're talking me into it, chat. You're talking me into it. I hate a team that has all the degenerate players that I really like, chat. Hey, yo. I hate this, like, oh, man, I don't want to have my D'Angelo Russell stock anymore. I can't get rid of it. No, it's not that I can't get rid of it. It's that I don't want to. It's that I just cannot let myself let go of the D'Angelo Russell stock. I'll have it for forever. It'll be stock that I'll always hold on to and be like, yep, I didn't have D'Angelo Russell stock. I have D'Angelo Russell stock. It is what it is. But the obviously basketball realism of him impacting that team in a championship way is a little still sort of uncertain, we'll say, at this point. But, you know, we're pro Davis, chat. Hey, yo, we're pro D'Angelo Russell. I mean, Sam's pro Cooper Flagg. To be honest, well, I was going to say, we might have to adopt the Mavs as team of the year, but we're not going to adopt another Texas team as team of the year. At least not as a joint team of the year, pod team of the year, because it just can't happen. But that's going to be a fun team to watch. I mean, the Cooper Flagg piece of it is obviously already going to have you tuning in. They're probably already going to have a ton of national TV games just based on that and just based on them wanting to continue to promote that. But just an interesting team fit, put all the pieces together. D'Angelo Russell, again, is like the type of guy that maybe Jason Kidd is like a guy that can coach up guys. And they got Shammgod over there as well, too. Like, they can get to players. I mean, they got the Kyrie situation kind of ironed out. Like, I don't know, they're going to make Russell a lockdown defender. But if they can make him play with some energy and some smart team read nature to his game, then maybe his three-point shooting and spacing and all the different stuff will be able to actually impact the team in the proper way. Because he can derail a team with like, oh, you know what, I don't want to be, you know, just throwing it out there. I'm not necessarily saying they derail a team a little harsh, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he can be a little overwhelming in an offense at times with his abundant shot taking. Hey, yo, Joe will try to professionally tiptoe through it there. But he can definitely take away a little bit. But if he commits to the defense and with the wing spacing and the interior creation of this Mavs team, and with Cooper Flagg and Davis being guys that can be additive star players as well as stars in their own right. Like, you know, maybe he's a fun 17 points a game again, and you know, is he going to get to 50-40 like he was for a little bit there in Minnesota and LA? But I don't know if he was 50-40 or like 48-40 or something along those. But I mean, he can get to that. You know, I guess 47-40 cutoff is kind of the theme for today in a way. But he can definitely get to that number. It's a little bit attainable. But for the Nuggets as well, too, they need Jamal Murray from a playoff standpoint to continue to be back to that Jamal Murray level playoffs. Because the regular season is one thing, and I don't know if Jokic honestly cares about the regular season. I don't know if he cares where he's playing playoff games at. I mean, I'm sure there's some strategic being close to home setup stuff in Denver that is more beneficial to him. But just in terms of being at home or on the road, like Jokic doesn't care. Jokic is good to have games either way. Again, maybe the travel sort of bums him out a little bit either way. But yeah, for Murray, they need Murray to continue to be that amazing two-way guy that can ascend up and be a championship level too. Because I mean, again, we just saw with Jalen Williams. Like, if there's something that's proven time and time again, you always need that second guy. And we had that era where the second guy was kind of locked in, and that was the thing with the LeBron Wade thing. And that's the thing with super teams. It's like, oh yeah, it locks in that trio in a sense, you know, supposedly, where you have, or however many guys it is, you know, whatever. But you know, it locks in that core group of guys where, oh, this is our LeBron, this is our Wade. But Wade's an MVP in his own right. Wade's a lead guy. Wade has to sacrifice, you know, to let LeBron be on the team. But a guy like Jalen Williams, maybe he does get at a point where he is, of course, and maybe he is right now, obviously now, even overqualified to be a number 2 guy on the floor. But he is a number 2 guy in spirit. If that makes sense, I'm saying that in a good way. Like, he kind of views himself a little as a number 2. Like, he kind of wants to do the additive, tough, physical, difficult things. Pause. Hey, whoa. Pause. But he doesn't mind, of course, playing defense and getting nasty with a couple of offensive players. Hey, but also his offensive game is really built on itself, and his shooting has just become more lethal and more. I mean, the efficiency has continued to stay there. And his physicality at attacking the basket has continued to improve with his confidence as well, too. So, again, there's definitely a world where he's a number 1. But right now, he's like, I'm a number 2 on this championship team. This is Shea's championship team. And I'm going to be the perfect, impactful number 2 guy. So, you know, for Murray to be that impactful number 2 guy is definitely what's going to get Denver back in that conversation as well, too. Because, again, that 2-man game is the most important part. But other than that, and I guess, what were we saying? D'Angelo Russell, Kyrie, Cooper Flagg, Ayo, chat. Other than that, Duncan Robinson going to the Pistons? 3 years, 48. Detroit had a little perimeter shooting. You know, no Malik Beasley anymore, chat. Hey, yo, Malik Beasley, unfortunately, in some kind of scandal that, I don't know, we'll see what happens for him there. But Duncan Robinson, a little, you know, if they're thinking him in the Malik Beasley role, it is a little bit different, I would say. They're both definitely mainly off-ball scorers, but Duncan Robinson is a little more primarily based on some of the, I think, movement stuff. Whereas Malik Beasley is like a little sort of more dribble pull-up-y, if that makes sense. But Duncan Robinson's obviously going to be really great for that team next to Cade and give him some floor spacing. But he does feel like a Miami guy as well, too. So, and the Pistons are trading Fontecchio to Miami. Whoa. So that's like an OG Pat Riley move right there, chat. I mean, there's some definite, they're really not getting much else in the trade. But yeah, Fontecchio for Duncan Robinson straight up. I think you might take Fontecchio, to be honest. Hey, yo, throw him right in the mix of fun wing creator guys that they have with Hawkes, Jovic, and Fontecchio is a pretty fun. Hero, Jovic, Hawkes, and Fontecchio is definitely the most fun backcourt creator name that we have right now in the league. But I don't know if that's the kind of, all and I don't even know what kind of cap space they had to be able to work with. I don't think they were necessarily working with a ton, and I think it was more like they had some contracts they could move around as well too if they wanted to get frisky for Durant, not necessarily just them to be able to sign anybody that they wanted to if they were, whoever was available. But I don't know if this is the Pistons, this pushes them over the top. But again, Orlando, they didn't really have moves to make. Like Cleveland didn't really have cap space to make moves. Like it would have to be trades for Cleveland. Like we were saying, Boston and Indiana are both missing their star players next year. And then same with the Knicks. The Knicks are kind of set in stone as well too. So the Eastern Conference, basically outside of Milwaukee and Detroit, it's like who's going to get better? And Detroit, I say bring in Duncan Robinson as that move as well too. So shout out to our guy Duncan Robinson. But that's a lot for, or not a lot for giving up or anything for him. I'm just saying if that's your move in the off season, that's I don't know if you're just thinking, okay, let's just continue to see at least what Cade is getting, not necessarily, let's push our chips into the that doesn't feel like quite an all-in type move. I don't know. And again, who do we have available? Like that, those type of conversations. Do you just make this move now? But I don't know if a move for that type of guy is totally off the board as well too. A little later on, to be honest. So, Cairo, I guess we got a list of the agreed contracts here. Oh, Yabusele going to the Knicks. That's right. Here, can we sort this by team real quick? Atlanta with Nickeil Alexander and Luke Kennard. So Atlanta's gearing up, Chad. Atlanta is going to be a fun team in the Eastern Conference next year. It's just what it is. Trae Young is going to be one of the guys with playoff experience. Because, again, when we look at the Cade Palo tier, it's going to be the emergence of those guys. And they do have familiarity with the playoffs, but not the way that Trae Young does. We just have to give him credit there. It is what it is. We can't lie to ourselves. He has a playoff experience run there. And they're bringing and building in the wing depth and the perimeter creating. I mean, Nickeil Alexander-Walker showed that he can be a really fun creator. But, he also can be, speaking of can he play with Trae Young, he could also play without Trae Young, I think. It's a hot take. But if you're thinking, okay, the Jalen Johnson, Recherche, Okongwu, and now, Kennard in there as well, too. But if it's just like those wing guys in the mix for Atlanta, then we need maybe a more wing-like creator to get these people set up if we want to lean into that style of play for certain minutes. So that could be a fun potential change of pace in some certain lineups for him here. But Atlanta, and there's somebody else I'm missing as well too, when I'm just naming off guys for this Hawks roster, for guys that could potentially be fun for him in a playoff series. But I could definitely see him in a playoff series. I'm not saying it's like likely. I would there's like minus 100, minus 120 odds that Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to take Trae Young's job. I'm just saying that's not off the table for certain games in a playoff series. Oh, Porzingis is the other guy they got. Zinger. Yeah, so if Zinger is healthy is always a question. It's always a question. Make no mistake. And not disrespectfully. It's just what it is. You got to be honest to yourself when you're running a team for the players' sake and for your own sake as well too. But, for Walker, if you're going Porzingis at the 5, maybe? Porzingis, Jalen Johnson. Oh, Dyson Daniels was the guy I was forgetting about. Dyson Daniels. Yeah, so that gives you those more wing depth guys to have out there as well, too. Which, again, surround Trae Young, make up for some of the things that may be lacking there. But also if you want to just go a different direction with the vibe of the lineup, I think Walker could kind of provide you that. Because who else do they even have as handlers here as well? Yeah, you're looking at the Buffkin minutes, or Dyson Daniels really taking a step forward in that role as well, too. I mean, Jalen Johnson as a creator a little bit. So, you know, if you're like, let's just throw in Terrence Mann as a wing. Oh, our guy Veet, chat. How can we forget about our guy Veet? He's actually pretty good. But Okongwu, Ricochet. So Jalen Johnson. So, yeah, Porzingis, Okongwu battling it out there for it as well, too. But we know Jalen Johnson and Ricochet. Lock it in, chat. They're on the court. Maybe you play Okongwu and Porzingis together. Those four? You kind of could, honestly. You kind of could because, I mean, Zinger's definitely a 4. Like, the lowest version of the line. He's a 4-5. So, you know, you go for him as the 4 in some lineups. You did play next to Horton times. Jalen Johnson's kind of a 3 through 5. So you could play him at the 3. And then Dyson Daniels is kind of 3. So you could play him at the point guard as well, too. So you could kind of play those 4 guys together. Okongwu, Porzingis, Jalen Johnson, and Dyson Daniels. And yeah, then if you just go Nickeil Alexander-Walker in that lineup, like, that's a crazy athlete. There's some spacing in there with Porzingis, but also they're athletes. Again, now you're making up for Porzingis instead of Trae Young, but Porzingis' defense is different than Trae Young's defense. Maybe there's a different way to switch him out and attack him that doesn't help the Hawks out in some way for sure. But again, are we talking about them winning a title or being a fun playoff team next year? Like, this is a fun playoff team, potentially, especially whatever the timeline is for Jalen Johnson getting back healthy as well too. And then Kennard, you know, just continue to add that floor spacing as well. You're never going to go wrong bringing in Luke Kennard. But go into a team that has lots of wings where, oh, you know, speaking of Duncan Robinson, he kind of goes into that Duncan Robinson. Obviously, he's kind of always, you know, similar roles. But where Miami was like, okay, this month Duncan Robinson's going to be our 3rd most important guy on the court, and he's going to play 30 minutes a game. And then the next month, Duncan Robinson's playing 7 minutes a game, and there's other matchup reasons for that and all different stuff. But that kind of variance could happen for Luke Kennard in a good way for Atlanta. And Leah Thompson just right in the kiss on Marty McFly, chat. Hey, yo. It is what it is. So, again, shout out to Marty McFly. I think he tried to moves, you know, moves as good as he possibly can for the most part. Just gets himself in trouble a couple times. You know, wrong place, wrong time in a way for a lot of this movie. Who would have thought? Hot take, Back to the Future. Wrong place, wrong time. Hey, yo. But, yeah, brutal to watch, chat, nonetheless. Hey, yo. You hate to see it. It's not mind it whatsoever. But, Trae Young, Jalen Johnson, Niang, that's right, you got no Niang. Dylan Windler! A cap hold on Dylan Windler. Hey, yo, chat, bring him back. The Karis LeVert minutes, I don't know. Newell was the guy they took in the draft. So now you have Newell as an energy 4 in there as well. Yeah, chat, the Hawks. I'm buying Hawk stock. Hawks to the 2nd round, chat. Caw. Is that a Zach Lowe thing? I don't know. We'll let Zach Lowe keep that bet if it's his. But Atlanta to the semis. Lock it in right now, chat. Ayo, a little semi. Thinking of Atlanta to the semis. Pause. But moving to the next team. Brooklyn. They get another point guard, chat. Deron Sharp, bring him back. Zaire Williams. Chat. I mean, he's getting $6 million a year from Brooklyn, so that's probably about as good as he's going to get, to be honest. But Zaire Williams is decent. So if somebody, like, who else got $6 million, chat? Who is in the $6 million range? Look at the, not very many guys. You got 3 guys. You got a 40, a couple of 20s, a couple of teens, and then we're right down to the minimums and all that different stuff. But just, I guess, not so many free agents after day 1. But, you know, how many are there in general? But, yeah, but $6 million range. Competing with, I guess, Tyus Jones, LaRavia. This is Yabusele in there. So he's got some interesting upside for him as safe. But Russell, Batum, Porter, I don't know if you could have gotten Zaire Williams over D'Angelo Russell. Again, you do need the creation, the lead ball handler that Russell at least wants to be. Maybe you just need that. But Gary Harris versus Zaire Williams. Like that, I guess that's almost twice as much for Gary Harris. Now we're even really going extra on the bargain shopping at that point, just in terms of the amount of money being spent. But yeah, Zaire Williams is a fun, interesting piece if somebody wants to maybe, hey, who can we get like 2 or 3 second-round picks for Zaire Williams? But Boston, I mean, these are good moves as well too. Just a couple of Minnesota guys right to Boston. I don't know if there was a trade in there that we're missing. But you get Luka Garza on a 2-year minimum contract. And then same with Josh Manoit as well too. And Minnesota has one of those sneaky, I don't know if we look at like their actual G League team and see what we got, but I mean, Garza's got one of the sneaky best per 36s of anybody in the league. And Manoit's been kind of an interesting guy that has flashed some minutes when he's been in as well too. So both of those guys could be, like if you think, we go, we're talking about the Celtics, so we can steal Simmons a bit, talking about his own team. Well, if we're going trade value rankings, Cornet is on the Spurs for $10 million. I mean, Cornet's definitely better defensively than Garza is. Make no mistake. He's keeping up a little bit better with some of the guys. But the value of that, Garza is a good deal. Garza can get you some points off the bench, and Benoit can, again, give you the versatility. And you kind of lean into some of the offensive stuff with Simons. Simons and Garza, chat? A Simons-Garza pick and roll. There's going to be an advanced stats moment in the season where, like, wait a second, do you see the numbers on this Simon-Garza pick and roll? Like, this is kind of crazy here. So that's some interesting, the per 36 champions. Brad Stevens just sorting it out and like, okay, who can we pay on the minimum contract that's putting up 25 points per 36 minutes? Luka Garza and Josh Benoit. Lock it in. But Trey Mann, Mason Plumlee to Charlotte. So yeah, Trey Mann was one of the more recent moves, just in general, that we saw today. And Mason Plumlee is still around and back in Charlotte, chat. Hey, yo, Charlotte was like, it's been long enough without a Plumlee. Good talent on this team. We can afford to bring back a Plumlee. Hey, yo, pause. Plumlee, shut up. Respectable talent, obviously himself. Trey Mann, been a fun upside guy for this team. Unfortunately, making just enough money to probably not feel bad about missing the finals, the Thunder's final team. Because originally started there, was like, hey, maybe he can be a little bit more than what he's being allowed to be in OKC because they have a lot of the creation guys in front of him already. And, he's making $8 million plus or whatever. It's like, okay, he's earning a little bit of a contract, but also he could just be on that team as well, too, and just have won the title this past year. But Trey Jones staying in Chicago, I guess. Is Trey Jones on Chicago at the end of last year? I definitely forgot about that at some point. Emmanuel Miller retained his volunteer work, chat. Says $0 on Spotrac. Emmanuel Miller not being paid to play for the Bulls next year. Somebody investigate that. Sam Morrell and Larry Nance Jr. to Cleveland. Morrell stays. $9 million a year for Morrell. So they have Strus and Morrell. I don't know if this is okay, we have Morrell in a little bit of a cheaper deal. Do we trade Strus? But Strus with some of the defensive stuff, I think he can still prove himself to be important this year if he plays really well. And then Nance as well, of course, being back in Cleveland is going to be fun. Yeah, Kyrie and Russell, Denver in there. And then LeVert, I guess, goes to Detroit, and then Detroit retains Paul Reed, which, of course, we're always going to be fans of. LeVert, 2 years, 28. So they go about $29 million, $30 million combined for Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert. So if they had just spent the $30 million on Turner's 26. That's an interesting one. Aldama got $17 million a year from Memphis. I mean, honestly, what if you just give Aldama $23 million? Would we rather have Aldama at $23 million or Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert at $30 million? I'm going to be honest, Karis LeVert, unfortunately, both Michigan men, so I hate to say it, but again, we're talking in 2025. They're at Michigan. Karis LeVert was at Michigan a decade ago. The combination and the fact that you need the two guys to make up for the production as well, too, is interesting. But Aldama as a 4 would be fun on that team. Maybe him and Tobias Harris. You can't get Aldama because you already have Tobias Harris on the roster. And maybe Again, you're not trading for Durant at this, but Durant's been traded for. Desmond Bane's been traded for. Like, who's been traded for that if you cleared up a little bit of space to like that you could fold into a trade as well too. But even like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he goes to Atlanta. He probably just wanted to go to Atlanta, to be honest. I'm not saying anything specific. I'm just saying that, was there not $15 million for him to get elsewhere? If you got Duncan Robinson also getting the same contract and Karis LeVert just getting a little bit less, if they have the contract to give to both guys, they can clearly go a little bit for Nickeil. If you go Nickeil Alexander-Walker and then, Kornet, I think, wanted to play with Wemby because there was some the Spurs Kornet rumors were definitely there for a little bit before the start of free agency. But yeah, if you go, Kornet and Nickeil Alexander-Walker instead of Duncan Robinson and LeVert, it still gets you your white guy in there. Kornet for Duncan Robinson. You kind of switch them around, I guess. But yeah, either way, two decent rotation guys in the mix next year, and you still have enough guys, young guys in the core. And just Marty McFly just totally stealing a heritage and a culture, and it is what it is. We'll turn it down, chat. It is what it is. Shout out to Marty McFly. He does a lot of good things, sets a lot of good trends, but this one, maybe just leave it alone. It is what it is, chat. But Dorian Finney-Smith even. Maybe the Rockets just was, a place that he wanted to go. But that's kind of a fun move. The Rockets are a tough one because on one hand, the newness and the funness of that team, it's like they're probably going to be a heavily favored team to be, I would say, again, probably the number 2 team in the West, because OKC is obviously still going to be the number 1 team in the West next year with everybody returning healthy. They made it through the playoff series, and everybody, again, we'll see what happens over the course of that team making runs. But for now, everybody stayed healthy going into this offseason. Chet, just don't play in the Drew League this year, and hopefully you'll be okay. But the Rockets are probably going to be the consensus next best team. Because you look at it, like the Mavs were the next busiest team today. Okay, Kyrie re-signed, but he's not going to be there for a little bit. And then D'Angelo Russell's the other move. But Lakers, the Spurs are on the horizon. The Clippers were a dominant team last year. The Grizzlies, who knows if they look different. Like the West, it's going to be competitive. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be highest quality and everybody's going to be winning the most games. Like there could be a slugfest sort of grinded out aspect to the Western Conference next year where the Thunder go back and get the number 1 pretty easily, but the Thunder get the number 2 seed. But Durant and Finney-Smith as your offseason. Again, for Jalen Green, you turn Jalen Green, and I don't remember if they gave up another wing in that Durant deal as well too. But you turn that basically in Durant and Finney-Smith. I mean, it works. And, that's fun guys paired together with Amen Thompson. Now, again, speaking of the defense, that's really crazy. And a good compliment to Durant. It honestly makes me feel a little bit better about the Durant signing because it bulks up that skill set of that team. In that way, defense is already a strong point, but now it just kind of ensures that front court 4-ish position can be still guarded with, some really good defense as well too. But Durant and Finney-Smith, I think even in 2025 could be a little small ball 5 if you needed him to. But if you go Jabari, Kevin Durant, and Finney-Smith at the same time, Tari Eason and Amen Thompson, I think there's some really fun potential lineups there because I was seeing, again, you're looking at all these graphics. They just re-signed Fred VanVleet, who, as much as I want to make the fun lineups, like he did prove last year to be an important playoff guy for him at the end of games. So it just could be that simple that, yeah, VanVleet is just good at the end of games just as a point guard. But also, again, the defensive versatility, wingness of all the lineups they could throw out there. I mean, put Cam Whitmore out there as a lead guard. For goodness sake, give this man some run. But you're seeing VanVleet, of course, projected as a star point guard of the team. But this could be there's lineups that really turn this over to Amen Thompson as the lead guard in real ways. And again, Amen Thompson next to, Durant, his final form returned back to 2 guard. Durant at the 2 guard, Jabari Smith, small ball 5, Dorian Finney-Smith as well too, and then Tari. So yeah, that's the lineup, right? Durant, Finney-Smith, Tari Eason, Amen Thompson, and who am I forgetting, chat? Who am I forgetting there? Somebody that I just mentioned. Both Smiths, Durant, Tari Eason, and Amen Thompson. Yeah, so that's the 5 of them. Okay, so that, again, Durant, is he a lockdown defender right now? But there's switchability and swishability too with Kevin Durant. But switchability with the defense, the length pause is intimidating. Whoa, whoa. And then it gives Amen Thompson room to operate as well, too, with some of the spacing and some of the different creation stuff from some of the other guys. So, I mean, you're not going to be mad, of course, bringing in Dorian Finney-Smith for 3 minutes, pause, on this team. Davion Mitchell wanted to stay in Miami. He goes a little bit shorter on the contract, 2 years, $12 million. For Davion Mitchell, Chad, $12 million a year for Davion Mitchell. I fully support it. Shout out. Go get your money, brother. But the man is definitely getting paid a little bit. I mean, he is really good defensively, for sure. I think some of the offensive stuff could obviously be a little bit better, but still, I mean, $12 million a year is probably a pretty fair price in there. If you're Miami, who else do you have anyways, right? And, you know, maybe Davion Mitchell still has a chance to get better as well, too, as a younger player. But, yeah, Cornette to the Spurs, chat, is an interesting move because we've been looking at different center options, of course, throughout the course of the early offseason here. The draft, there was some talk about, do we scout for... It did seem like we were scouting Kalkbrenner there. We scouted Malawach a little bit. Obviously, we were just going to end up with Dylan Harper at the number 2 pick, so I don't know if there was a Malawach slides to 14 or we get feisty and try to trade back up from 14. And then we ended up trading 38 as well, too. So it's like, okay, whatever they saw in Kalkbrenner was not apparently what they were scouting for. And then I think Kalkbrenner ended up going in the first round, or maybe he was early second as well, too. Tankathon, they've already got 2026 up here. Yeah, Utah, shout out, chat. Number 1. San Antonio is, where are we at, chat? Hey, yo. Okay, 20. Hey, our name back up in the top of the boards now for a while. Dylan Harper, guaranteeing the Spurs make the playoffs. For sure. Okay, the mock there. We have to go back to past draft results and see where did our guy Kalkbrenner go in the draft. So Malawach fell to 10. I mean, I guess him falling to 14 was not super crazy in there. But Kalkbrenner was 34. So again, you know, maybe they were thinking he's definitely not going to be on the board at 38 as well, too. Renaud was there on the board if the Spurs had taken that spot. Cam Jones went to the Pacers on that pick. A little Matherin insurance, I guess. And then you got our guy, Bogoslav Markovic, who's a little bit more of a creation front court guy than he is like an actual center. So you're looking at Amari Williams, Rocco Zakarski as well, too, as a potential option. So I'm sure the play right away factor as well, too, was something that they were looking at. Or like Janai Broom as well. And Janai Broom's just not going to give you the athleticism or the defensive upside that you want next to Wembanyama in there. So you get a good defender, 4 years, $10 million. It's a little, 4 years. There's not as many 4-year deals now. I guess him and Finney-Smith, both Sam Morrell. But 10 years is totally fine. I think the center position is a valuable position. So, I mean, you see this with Pirtle right now. Pirtle's on twice this contract. And to be honest, Cornette's probably a better player than Pirtle is because Cornette can step out and hit a 3 with a little bit more consistency. And again, Wemby is taking care of all the main defensive stuff. So you just need Cornette with the energy and the defense on some of the other perimeter things, crashing the glass, helping out Wemby there, and just being, again, additive defense more so than Cornette anchoring the middle of the defense, which is, to be honest, like kind of what you would want him to do, or not want him to do, but kind of like what you have to do a little bit in Boston, because he's actually playing like a true center in a way, not true center, but he's playing with other forwards and guards out there. He's not playing with other bigs. So when he's playing with Wembanyama, that's going to be a defensive burden taken away from him that it's going to be great. So, as much as it's like, is Luke Cornette the splashy move that we wanted to make? It's the functional, very smart, and, a lot of upside to the move. A lot of upside for Luke Cornette. But, yeah, I mean, for him to outplay a $10 million a year contract is very, very reasonable and locked in too much crazy stuff. Because again, even the Durant thing, like, does the Durant thing have the potential to go better than the Luke Cornett signing? Yeah, absolutely. Does the Durant thing have a chance to go worse than the Luke Cornett signing? Yeah, absolutely. And the Spurs at the end of the day are still built around Wembanyama and Dylan Harper and Steph Castle, and Cornett's going to be additive to that. And this is an additive building block contract as well too. So just perfect alignment with all the stuff there for Brian Wright. That all the way works out. Almost like getting all the stuff aligned right now to just go back in time. The storm, the clock is right. Doc Brown's got to be, he's got to shuffle across the little ledge and not fall. There's just going to be a lot of things that have to happen as well too. Other than Luke Cornett though, Chad, I mean, how many other high profile moves could have possibly happened? Once Luke Cornett's off the board, it's not like there is a ton of other options to look at. But no, like trade man. Looney, we saw Jordan Poole was like, oh, we can't. Kevon Looney back together again from Golden State. Poole was obviously traded to the Pelicans a little bit ago for McCollum, if we remember correctly. And, he wasn't getting along with the other front court players there. Make no mistake. Draymond. If Draymond got traded to the Pelicans, Jordan Poole would be like, oh, this is insane. How do I end up back with Draymond? But it is Kevon Looney that is there. Brook Lopez goes to the Clippers. That's what we're saying, chat. The veteran team, the Clippers, the third retirement home. Hey, 30 plus only to play for the Clippers, unless you're Brandon Boston or something like that. And then, Trey Jones on the Bulls. Capella back on the Rockets. 3 years, $7 million deal. So probably, again, more bench, more rotation. You've got Capella and Steven Adams. So they've really invested in that spot. That's for sure. You're paying both those guys $20+ million a year. It is a little interesting. But Tyus Jones to the Magic. Wait, so, Ty Jerome goes to Memphis. Oh, Ty Jerome. Wait, so who went to Chicago? Who did I? Trey Jones is Chicago. Okay, Tyus Jones is Orlando. That's not bad either. Orlando continues to bulk up. Again, they add Desmond Bane, so you would bring in Tyus Jones and be like, oh, is Tyus Jones going to be the second guard potentially next to Jalen Suggs in some lineups? Anthony Black, I guess, is there as well too. But this does allow Anthony Black to not have to necessarily be the lead point guard when he's off the bench. He can be a lead creator if they need him to be, but he can also be, again, energy, three-point, off-ball scoring as well too. So maybe you want him to develop a little point guard, for sure. But I guess Tyus Jones is a one-year deal as well too. And when you're making a potential, let's be honest, they're going to make a potential finals run. They're going to want to make a potential finals run. That's going to be the goal. The Eastern Conference is weak. The guys are ascending. You made a big trade. Obviously, you're being super aggressive. So this is a good move for bringing in that guard depth. So Trey Jones was in the Bulls last year because he got traded there to the Spurs. So sorry to Trey Jones for just immediately, for some reason, thinking that you were your brother and just forgetting the Spurs run all the good times, because Trey Jones, beloved Spurs backup point guard. But Jerome to Memphis, chat. So now we get in on a very reasonable deal, $9 million a year. Jerome's not $20 million a year. I guess not. But now you've got, this is the Detroit thing. Do you want Miles Turner, or do you want Duncan Robinson and who's the guy, and Karis LeVert? Do you want Desmond Bane, or do you want Jalen Wells and Ty Jerome and Cole Anthony, or whatever their combination of backcourt guys is now? Because Ty Jerome, again, Jerome, is he going to lock down the other guys' backcourt guys? But Bane already had his own sort of question marks when it came to the defensive side of things as well too. So you're adding maybe similar shooting efficiency, hopefully, if Jerome continues to be there, and you're adding a little bit of extra creation and just that type of guard production for just a way cheaper contract. So you don't want to say that Memphis was only making that move to be cost controlled. That maybe it was just, hey, we're capitalizing on the value of our player here. We're getting a lot of picks back, and we feel like we can make good moves around that. But the good moves that they did make, have helped directly make up for that. Maybe they're making those moves anyway to help make up for it. Again, it kind of goes hand in hand. But those moves have helped make up for that, and they're good moves. and this team is a decent budgeted, out type team. It makes a lot of sense. So, and, some jaw insurance as well, too. I don't know if Jerome can be a 17, 18 point a game scorer if Jaw's not on the court from night to night. That could be kind of fun. LaRavia to the Lakers, chat. I don't know why the Lakers need another white guy, but you got LaRavia, Luka, and Austin Reeves. I mean, where's that graphic at for the best white lineup in the NBA right now? So 2 years, $6 million, $12 million. I mean, first round pick was maybe a little bit like lottery projected as well too when he was going into the draft. So there's definitely still some hype around him to be like an impactful role guy. But I don't know if he's a guy that can. He definitely. There is a chance that he can be a Final Five guy for him. Oh, Marty McFly better hurry up. The Volkswagen bus with the terrace and it just ripped past him. So that's, I guess, the one good thing about them being in a Volkswagen bus. The Libyans, chat. That's what they are. Hey, yo, shout out to the Libyans. Not Albanians, but the Libyans. So, the one good thing about them being in a Volkswagen bus is it's very distinct. You can just, it's like, oh, the one Volkswagen bus in town. It must be the Libyans. But Jake LaRavia. Jake Libyan Rabia? I don't know, chat, but is definitely going to be a good guy for their depth, but they were in a spot where they could add a Final Five guy as well, too. And maybe he is that, but I don't know if he's quite, is he an upgrade? Is LaRavia an upgrade from Finney Smith? I mean, Finney Smith is making twice as much as LaRavia, and LaRavia, the three-point shooting, I mean, Finney Smith's a good three-point shooter, so we can't necessarily doubt him there too much. But LaRavia's got the upside as well, too, potentially. He was at 42% last year. Hey, yo, he was cooking, chat. In Memphis, 47 games in Memphis last year, he was 49% from the field, 44% from three. And then they traded him to Sacramento. So wait a second, chat. I take it back. LaRavia unlocked on the Lakers next to Luka. Like, that's just what I'm just thinking. LaRavia that Lakers fans would talk themselves into. That would not amount to as much as the hype should be. But with Luka, if he is knocking down his three-pointers, that space, because they're not going to play defense, but who cares? Put up points, score, space the floor. LeBron, Luka, LaRavia, Austin Reeves, and whoever your center is that they still don't have. They still don't have a center, I guess, is the question still on this time. Do we have any latest buzz? What's the latest signing? Still Trey Mann at this point. I guess still loading at this point. I guess have the Knicks officially hired Mike Brown at this point. There was word of a second interview, but no official word on a hiring at this point. So shout out to Doc Brown. He's back up and alive and well after avoiding the Libyans. So yeah, Trae Young apparently was the last domino to fall so far in free agency. So it is a fun day. It is a weird day, though, to look and say, for as chaotic of a day is, did the title picture shift in a major way? I gotta be honest, looking at that 49-42% splits, I was about to say, like, do we rank the potential most impactful moves? Like, the LaRavia one might be one, to be honest. I've like gone the complete other way now. I think it might be a good move. I mean, Kevin Porter Jr. just bringing him back count. Can we put that in the top 5? Yabusele to the Knicks is interesting. I don't know if they need a guy like Yabusele. I mean, they need depth for sure. They were only going 6 or 7 guys there, and maybe Mike Brown in the mix will actually play some of the other guys. But, I don't know if Yabusele is going to swing a playoff series for you necessarily. But other than that, chat, nothing that jumps off the page. Oh, there it goes, chat. Literally jumps off the page. Everything goes away. I misspoke. Literally jumps off the page. Cam Spencer returns to the Grizzlies on the cheapest deal of the day. Ayo, shout out 2.5 milli for our guy Cam Spencer. Even Jay Sean Tate going back to Houston as well too. So people have been hyping up the competition in the Texas Triangle, I think it's called, between Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas. And it's going to be good. I mean, you got Cooper Flag now in Dallas, of course, is the next young star. So now that pairs them with Wemby and Amen Thompson in the other two cities, and Dylan Harper added into the mix with Steph Castle and just, all the other guys on all the other teams. Like, it's fun cores going forward, but the Rockets team has the depth this year as well too. And if Durant is a pseudo number one guy, or is there a version of that where it's like, can he be, I guess, like an older Shea this year, where it's like, okay, he's going to get his 30 a game really efficiently, and then the other guys can play defense and help with the transition to, because the Rockets could be able, I think, to play a similar style where it's like, we're going to really lock in on defense, we're going to focus on transition points and offensive defense scoring. It'd be Udoka coaching that up and definitely focusing on those lineups and making that the priority team of some of the, maybe the 3-point shooting spacing stuff as well too. But yeah, that team has the ability to play like OKC, has the potential depth to match OKC, and Durant obviously has the potential to score with Shea if he's able to take a sort of isolated role at times, like that as well too. But there's another move I saw in here. I was like, wait a second, what did I see jump off the page? Oh, just Day'Ron Sharpe going back to Brooklyn, I guess, is the one. Wofford to the Sixers? Trenton Wofford, 2 years, a minimum contract? Hey, yo, chat. They re-signed Justin Edwards as well, too. So, Watford, McCain, Maxey, and Edgecombe? Hey, yo, I'm in, chat. Pause. Lock that in. That's a fun team. Trenton Wofford's going to be good as the fourth man on that lineup. I mean, maybe the fourth man. Put Paul Reed in the game. He's still the fourth man. Hot take, chat. It is what it is. So, shout out to the teams for hopefully getting free agency right. Shout out to Marty McFly for getting the Back to the Future reset right. Hey, yo, Chase got Biff on the detail. Biff's automotive detail. He's got his dad rocking a nice little Steve Carell gray hair situation going. Christian Glover, chat. I don't know. Maybe the Silver Fox was the move for him all along. But, yeah, it was a fine line there between maybe almost getting erased in the car at the beginning to now all of a sudden he is back and his dad is a best-selling author. The What Made in Space, chat? Do we get a book? Can we get a copy of this? I mean, hey, yo, pause, chat, it's a thick one. Hey, yo, his dad, I mean, he might have a franchise in just that one book right there alone. That might be like a double book, a double album. The man just dropped his All Eyes on Me and there's diss tracks toward the people that hate him on that book. Great truck, chat. I mean, literally would love to get this in 2025, to be honest. Because I feel like probably still trying to be even a little bit more realistic. As well, too, not like realistic as not a futuristic DeLorean, but not necessarily like his dad's getting him a Ferrari, Like, it's like, okay, I'm getting him a car, but it's still going to be a nice car, but something that stands out, cool, semi on the higher end of reasonable, if that makes sense. But the DeLorean will be back. Make no mistake, chat. It is what it is. You got Doc Brown pulling up at basically any time. The glasses, the early Pit Vipers, chat. Doc Brown, a Pit Viper pioneer. You didn't even realize that Doc Brown pioneered the Pit Vipers. But Back to the Future. He's got the look going on. Hey, yo. Got to get the clean energy with some of the trash. I don't know. Maybe not clean energy is the right way to say it. But I don't know if that was the idea with some of the Mr. Fusion, chat. I mean, Doc Brown ahead of his time. It is what it is. So, and we get, of course, the quote as well, too. I forget. Does he say it earlier when they originally cook up the plan? Or is that just at the end of the movie where he's like, we go back to the future? It is what it is. But, either way, all-time best, say the name in there. Con Air, chat, is up there for sure as well. Those might be the two for just mainstream, most popular movies. Because I was trying to think. I was watching another one the other day, and I was like, oh, that's a good one. Deliver Us from Eva. I think they might say that in the movie as well, too. But shout out, chat. No more Claudia Wells, I guess. No more Jennifer Parker. But Marty McFly, the legend lives on. to this day. Doc Brown, the legend lives on to this day as well too, chat. And free agency 2025 carries on after tonight as well. So I know the main chunk of the moves are out of the way, but I'm sure, you know, a trade or something or two, we might get some more fun action in the NBA. Make no mistake, I would not be surprised. It does seem like anything's on the table, but again, did the title picture shift at all after today? You know, who knows what moves actually ended up shifting the title picture. Anyways, but again, the Bucks did get better. Denver did get better. I mean, Houston did get better. So maybe the thing at the end of the day is just like, how good is OKC? That they're just going to get through all these teams anyways. And again, was Milwaukee better enough to move the needle, I guess is the question. So, you know, does that speak again to the greater nature of the move that they are making here? But do we have, I guess, who else is left, chat? Free agents, but do we have availability ranking here? We only have the agreed guys. Oh, available. Here we go. Missing the tab. Brogdon's still available. Bagley out there making $12 million a year. Is he trying to get a raise? Hey, yo, Bagley. Power forward, you know, we need an athletic kind of rebounding floor, a 4. I don't know if he's got the jump shot down at this point or if he's still kind of around the basket with the majority of his stuff. Boucher as well, too. I guess Boucher at 32 is a little interesting, but Boucher is a fun player as well, too. The floor spacing is there. I feel like he competes on defense. So I don't know if at this point we're just looking at who has cap space and who doesn't. But, I mean, even Chris Paul, like the Spurs, what are we doing? Bring back Chris Paul. He's a veteran. Maybe he's looking for, you know, even still, one last sort of little payday. But if it's just, okay, a minimum contract and let's get this deal done. Chris Paul, just run this back in San Antonio one more time. See if you can get a ring with Wembanyama. And not even, I guess, even just get a ring. Let's just continue the run of fun teams with a great franchise with great fans and a great legacy. Be a great franchise for, you know, your history to continue to be a part of in there as well, too. So, Al Horford, Gary Payton II, Trey Lyles. Okay, yeah, we still got some big names in here, chat, to go. Giddey and Kuminga with their restricted free agencies. You'd imagine Chicago is going to make an effort to bring back Giddey. But again, what did they give up to get our guy Josh Giddey? Like, it was just Caruso. So, not just Caruso, but it's not like they gave up the farm of first-round picks to sacrifice the future. As well, too, where will Russell Westbrook go, chat? A question we ask ourselves every offseason now. Where will Russell Westbrook go? Maybe he ends up in San Antonio. Does San Antonio have another move to make? I guess is the question. Dinwiddie, Seth Curry, Eric Gordon. Dante Exum was good last year. I mean, Dante Exum is a 40% three-point shooter now? So that's got to be valuable to somebody. Campaign, DeLon Wright, giving the Knicks some good playoff minutes. Thomas Bryant. Quentin Grimes. I think Quentin Grimes is going back to Phillies, so that one might be off the board. McLaughlin. Bull. Vucevic as well, too, in Washington. Baisley, a free agent. Shamet, Brandon Boston. Alex Len. Jeff Dowden. Kai Jones. Ben Simmons. Ooh, chat. Ben Simmons sweepstakes. They start 3-2-1 right now. Or did they already start at free agency? I don't know. But we'll see if there's even a Ben Simmons sweepstakes. I may have heard wrong about that. Markelle Fultz. Kevin Knox. Ooh, Kevin Knox. David Roddy. Chat, there's some great names still left in free agency that could really help a team. David Roddy, I'm telling you. Kevin Knox. Lock it in, chat. Lock it in. Ayo, we might be in Drew League territory at this point. Mason Jones, last player listed. Drew Smith, Jalen Bridges. I don't even know who those guys are at this point. I do know who Keaton Wallace is, from the Hawks. This is the last guy on the list that we know. Oh, McGowan's, I wouldn't even have known he was on Portland anymore. I thought he was still on Charlotte. PJ Hall as well. Kind of would say I'm semi-familiar with his game. Ayo. It is what it is. Flagler out of Baylor at one point, I feel like, as well, too. So, ayo, chat. We got that part of the quiz down, I guess. But Bagley's a fun one. Ayo, Bagley sweepstakes will be good to monitor as well. But yeah, chat, we will be, of course, a slight tweak to the schedule this week. I think we will be live Thursday night instead of Friday night because, of course, Friday night is 4th of July. So it is what it is. But I think we'll still be here Thursday, hanging out, having a good time, seeing what is up. So you guys can subscribe to the YouTube and join us for that. You can catch the live streams later here, of course, on the YouTube as well, or the podcast feeds. They go up on the podcast feeds. They're available on Spotify, Apple, and all those different platforms, whichever one you guys use and prefer for yourselves. And if you guys want to send us a message, you guys can DM us at Remington on Instagram. The DMs are open over there as well, too. And we love to hear from you guys. So, yeah, we will be back, I guess, one more time before the 4th. So I was going to say, have a good 4th of July. But no, we'll be back, chat, Thursday the 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. If not, hey, we'll just be here on the 4th of July special. It is what it is. But, yeah, we will put an end to it there tonight. Shout out to Back to the Future 40 years later. Shout out to a fun NBA day one, technically, I guess, of free agency.